What's up, y'all? Kofi Kingston here, and I would love to have a drink with Wrestling on the Rocks, depending on what that drink is, preferably non-alcoholic, you know?
How's it going, Celtic Warrior Damon?
Soda.
I would love to have a drink with Wrestling on the Rocks.
Maple syrup.
Fella.
I would never have a drink with Wrestling on the Rocks.
Woo! Welcome back to episode 1. That's right, this is Wrestling on the Rocks. Welcome to Wrestling on the Rocks. Welcome to episode 1 of Wrestling on the Rocks. Welcome to Wrestling on the Rocks in 9 days on Dynamite. I'm at Ref Marsh. We are at WOTR the show. Wrestling on the Rocks, episode 1, 9 days. Woo. Klump, welcome back. Go ahead and say hello.
The fuck is this welcome back shit? It's not like...
I don't know, were you on last week?
Yeah, I was.
Oh, well, it's good to have you consistently then. I've forgotten that you
Oh,
were here.
kiss the fattest part of my ass.
Don't you tempt me.
Scared back there, but like, no. I'm part of this. I'm kind of a host. I'm a part-time employee.
Can you imagine, like, it's kind of, it reminds me of like when we used to work with each other. If I had spaced out at the table and you were standing next to me and I go, oh, welcome back. And you're like, I've been standing here the whole time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I still do that.
Yeah. And
Why are
as
you-
always,
Yeah.
Amanda Jane, go ahead and say hello.
Hey guys. Now what's this 9 days thing? I got all like freaked out about 9
did
days.
you-
Did I forget something?
No, did you see that Tony Khan promo that he cut a while back?
No. I don't like
What?
to listen to Tony Khan. No, I don't like to
Of
listen
course,
to
no,
Tony
you
Khan.
did. No, you saw the one because remember Kenny had that match against Matt Sydal, and then
Oh yeah.
yeah, Tony
When he
comes
came
out.
out,
No, this is bullshit. No, in 9 days, 9 days, 9
Oh
days,
yeah,
every day,
that's
in
right.
9 days.
I don't listen to him because he sometimes
I
I
know.
think he just has Tourette's really badly. And,
Oh, I don't
and
think
you know,
that,
no one can
but-
control him because you know it's his sandbox. But you know,
I think he loses his cool. I don't think he has a disease, but I do
no, I
think.
think he might. He's special.
Well,
I don't know. That's my opinion.
Can
But
I
I was
throw
just-
something to this real quick?
go ahead.
I was gonna say, you know, just anytime Tony Khan comes up, Jim Cornette, he's not always right, but his description of Tony Khan might be the most accurate thing I've ever heard. Here comes Tony Khan looking like a disheveled, coked up school teacher.
You,
I mean,
you
I'll
may
give
be
you
right.
that. There's a lot of things to disagree with Jim Cornette, but
That
goddamn,
yeah.
if he doesn't nail it sometimes, you know.
Oh yeah. Oh
The
yeah.
dude knows how to describe what he's seeing.
Yeah, and
Exactly.
he's totally like on point there.
Yeah,
Kudos
But,
to him.
No, I was just opening the show with that because that was my favorite Tony Khan quote of all time.
Oh,
9
you
days.
didn't.
In 9 days. 9 days
So
it's like
so
the
you-
good.
I was gonna say, so you're not quoting any of his paid advertisements?
No, I refuse to watch those.
I don't watch them either. So
Yeah, he can't pay me enough to watch those.
I would take his money gladly. If he wants to pay me, I'll take it. I
Actually,
am not
that's a good
shame.
point.
I have no shame.
That's a good point. I
I'll
can
stop
chill for
myself.
some money. You know what's
Yeah.
funny is I think I thought I'd mentioned it with you guys. Maybe I didn't. I was originally like, when I really think about how the show was starting and how I wanted it to go, I was like, guys, we just make sure that we shill our favorite stuff as much as possible. Like the idea was we were going to be shills. I was like, we will blindly support everything. Let's shill as much as we can. But goddamn, if we don't just start talking and get real honest real quick and be like, look, I didn't like some of this shit, okay? But
Yeah.
like,
But if you pay me,
yeah, we are terrible shills. We've done an awful job of shilling.
Well, like
So
when I worked at a dealership group and did IT, and I'd have to do weird training classes, you'd meet like new people, and you'd meet that one honest guy, and you're like, listen, you need to just push whatever. I know Buicks suck, but you need to push Buicks because you're not. And they'd be gone like 2 weeks because they'd go out there and be like, I'm not the biggest fan of it, but we got this.
oh yeah.
it's like watch that movie. You know, the one with
Alec Baldwin.
No. The one I'm thinking of, it was used car salesman. Jeremy Piven was
Billy
in it.
Baldwin. Talking
I
about
don't know.
Entourage.
No. But
Talking
it
about
was
Old School?
The Goods. It was a
Oh, yeah.
movie about used car salesman. That's what I always think about. Yeah.
All right.
Will Ferrell.
We'll
By
get
the
there.
drums.
Yeah, we'll get there. Just in time coming through. Cheers to just in time. Let's hit up what's in our glasses, guys. I'm trying Jameson cold brew.
Oh God, I
doing
saw
it.
that bottle.
It's a whole new bottle.
But is there an expiration date?
No, but it hasn't been opened yet. Well, we weren't
I
able to
know.
figure out how to read the license, the little serial codes. We can't figure out how to read it, so we're just gonna see what happens, man.
I'm going to pray for you, and I am not religious, so
Yeah. Woo!
Godspeed with that. Woo!
Yeah, we'll find out if something's
put it
wrong
maybe
in
a-
9 days.
Yeah, maybe put a Post-it on it that said the date you opened it.
Well, we're gonna put it in the fridge now because the other one was just left out
okay.
on the floor for a long time,
Okay.
Oh, no.
for months.
yeah.
So, all right, but Klump, what are you drinking?
I got a Starbucks unsweetened passion tea lemonade. It
Is
tastes
lemonade
terrible.
from Starbucks?
Yeah.
Ooh.
I
It
feel like
tastes-
you would make better lemonade than you buy.
Yeah.
I feel like you'd be
It
like,
really just tastes like a tea with lemon in it. I'm like, okay, this is cool.
no, that's not bad. I like that.
Like,
idea.
usually it's good. This is not. So,
Oh.
this Starbucks, you've lost my patronage.
Yuck.
Nice. Well, Amanda, what are you drinking? What's in your glass?
Well, you know what has never lost my patronage yet? Our non-sponsored Sonic
Oh,
Cherry Slush. And today I have just regular Stoli in it today. I just, said let's just go with classic. That's what we did. I've already
Sonic and
halfway
Stoli.
done.
Stolik.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's a good question. If we were to use like a marker to mark the top of the bottle before you start the show versus at the end of the show, how much fits in that Sonic glass by the end of the night?
Well, this is a 44 ouncer because I get the Route 44.
Yeah.
So what I do before I put the liquor in is I'll drink like a little bit of it, right? So like the guy you can't see it, but there's a guy throwing away trash. So I drink it to the top of the side of his body. Then I pour vodka in it.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll pour more, but it probably is the equivalent of maybe 3 shots.
What's the over under on that? We're just wondering.
Yeah, it's about 3. Obviously the vodka doesn't hit me as hard as when I do the nice spiced rum, but
point.
nothing else does. So
Producer, you gonna have a drink tonight? Or you gonna grab something? All right. I think that's it. I think at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what you're drinking. It matters who you're drinking with, and that's what we're doing. We're all hanging out. We are your drinking buddies. You're wrestling buddies. We are Wrestling on the Rocks.
Mhm.
Justin, what are you drinking? Well, let's get into the news. Are you guys ready for that?
yeah.
well, I'll
Headlines
start
don't sell
out.
papes. Newsy sell papes. Go ahead, Klump. What do we got?
First things first, we got some new Hall of Fame for the WWE. Inductees announced, and I don't know how English works, which is why I'm saying it like this, as well as a rumor. So, confirmed this week by The Bump, Kane, the Mayor of Darkness, Glenn Jacobs, will be inducted to the WWE Hall of Fame, as well as the Great Khali, which, yeah, kind of, I think, and I know when we brought up there's some thoughts about the Great Khali coming in.
Yeah, there's been rumblings. I know you had something you want to say about it, Klump. Go ahead.
But why?
I will
Why?
answer that. So, to me, the reason being is this. I think, unfortunately, the Great Khali, when we saw him so much in WWE, there'd been a lot of age and wear on him. He came in, and if you look at video or photos of him when he was in NJPW, it's night and day. Like, he had probably another 100 pounds of muscle on him, and he
Ooh.
looked like a monster, and he could move a bit, like significantly more than he could in WWE, but he did a lot. and he did get attention for the WWE. He did perform in various movies, and as a brand ambassador for the WWE with one of the largest markets in the world for wrestling, that's pretty awesome. So, uh, it's weird because I think a lot of his career has been derided over time because, yeah, his matches sucked. Like there's some there's some times it was really rough to watch a Great Khali match. Or I don't recall a pay per view and saying, the Great Khali, excitement. But that doesn't mean he didn't work hard, and I would say he deserves it. You know.
Yeah,
I
I
think
think
it's pretty
also in the most positive way possible. Simply put, also representation. You know what I mean? Realistically, we talk about how amazing a lot of representation can be just in general from the aspect of kids, right? If you
Yeah.
were a young Indian kid and you were growing up watching wrestling and you saw the Great Khali, you were probably drawn in. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I don't know the age or any of that stuff as far as like Jinder Mahal goes, but I do know that Jinder Mahal was really excited to have Great Khali be a part of his story, and when he was using the Pujami prison the way that he did, and I know that meant a lot to him. He'd mentioned that in an interview, that it was just fantastic to even be able to do something with Khali. So I think that not everything is about having the greatest match of all time. A lot of it has to do with just representation and how long was your career and what did you do for it? What did you do for
And
the
I think
company?
I think part of it too is what you've done outside of it to
Yes.
benefit wrestling and be an ambassador to the company. He's done a lot in India and
Mm-hmm.
outside in wrestling. An example I think in the future, I see Titus O'Neil being in the Hall of Fame in the future.
Oh yeah.
And
Hands down.
I don't recall a lot of fantastic Titus O'Neil matches, but I think it really bases itself off of maybe the nicest, sweetest person we see is Titus O'Neil. Like
Yeah.
he just exudes this like amazing like heart, and he does so much for his community and for connecting wrestling to the world in the best way. So yeah, and I kind of see Great Khali like that. Like um, there's and I think that's an awesome thing. It doesn't just have to be a performer. And I think if I could see this as a positive, I think more examples of this coming in would be really awesome.
Yeah. No, I think it's a good point.
Yeah. Yeah, but Titus, like, I mean, there's a reason why he is hosting WrestleMania, because he's such a champion in the Tampa community and things like that. So, I mean, yeah, unfortunately, you're doing it with a racist, but whatever. Things aren't perfect in life, but it says a lot about him, because I can't even tell you of any match I can ever remember of ever seeing him around. All I remember seeing is when I was watching backstage segments. So, I mean, that's all I really saw. So I don't.
Yeah, what's also weird is I do remember seeing matches with him and thinking, man, this guy is really good, but I couldn't tell you what match or when. I do remember seeing him live at house shows. Almost every house show he would have a match, and he was always super entertaining and really fun. So yeah, I agree. I don't have an issue with Khali or Kane, as Justin puts it, the devil's favorite mayor, which says a lot when you think about it.
It says a lot about your city. Who's your mayor? Well, let's talk about that. There was a really cool dude, and he lost to this guy. Oh.
Yep. And then we have also Eric Bischoff and Molly Holly were announced as well. I think Molly Holly was announced 2 weeks ago. Eric Bischoff was earlier this week, though.
Yeah.
And
I don't
I was
think
going to say, is Khali too early, though, do you think?
No.
After his return? No?
No.
Because there's other people that I know that haven't been inducted that should be, but yeah.
Well, yeah, but I mean, they don't want to. I mean, for one, you got to have 2 Hall of Fame ceremonies this year, so you don't want to get too crowded. But also, at the same time, I guess without trying to be like doom and gloom, I can't imagine somebody the size of Khali has a long life expectancy.
And that you're not wrong, and it's hard to say that, but it's true, and it's cool to celebrate somebody's
struggles,
Yeah, it's good to celebrate somebody when you can, versus like it's hard to appreciate someone after they're gone like that. It's
Yeah.
you kind of feel like, oh man, that sucks. So
Mhm.
yeah, getting them in now, and I think also part of this that I think it connects to Jushin Thunder Liger, because yes, Jushin Thunder Liger had matches in WCW, and one in NXT, but the majority of his career was all throughout Japan and Indies. And the Great Khali, what got him famous was he did work in New Japan and in other promotions. So yeah, like this could be one of those moments where we're acknowledging somebody. Yes, they had a role in what we did, but look at all the other shit they did for the industry. Look at all the other places they performed.
Yeah, and I think that's probably part of it too, right? Like you said, you want to be able to celebrate somebody like that while you can, but I think also especially with someone like Kali, where the conversation comes up, people say, "Oh, do they deserve it or no?" If that conversation is going to come up and it's going to be the person deserves it based off merits and not specifically matches, other than just being in probably decent matches for what they were, then I think that's maybe even more important to celebrate them, right? You don't want to like I mean, this is a weird conversation, but I mean, like somebody like The Undertaker, there's no doubt in Undertaker's mind he's going to make it to the Hall of Fame. There's no way.
Yeah.
There's no way there's a Hall of Fame that doesn't have Undertaker. They've just celebrated him in all these ways. Khali's never experienced what Undertaker's experiencing. So I think that with someone like Khali, where, when you're a certain size, people don't get that big without a bunch of health issues, that maybe you say, hey, you know what? He's in good shape. He's healthy enough to travel. Let's do this. Let's pull the trigger on it. Let's let him know how much we love and respect and appreciate what he did for the industry. And like you said, as an ambassador for the company,
Yeah.
So
You think Undertaker is going to get inducted in Dallas next year?
I don't know.
I
Maybe.
think so. I mean, the rumor has been, and it
short
makes
drive.
sense. Yeah, and this makes sense to me. Is I think they didn't put the Undertaker in this year because,
People.
yeah, and that's one of those. He's gonna get some time, and his spot, and maybe they don't want to have him mixed in 2 years of Hall of Fames, which I get. I also find it a little bit unfair, but we'll see. I think it would have been really cool for Undertaker and Kane to be inducted in the same year.
That would have been cool.
Yeah, like one after the other. Like hell yeah.
That would have been really
That'd
cool.
be cool. I wonder if they'd go in as a tag as well, Brothers of Destruction. I wonder if they did enough.
Maybe.
No, I don't think so.
No.
Yeah, I think I would. I don't think I have a huge argument on why they should go in as a pair, other than it was just a mean fucking tag team. But I don't think they had an exceptionally long run. It just was powerful.
I mean, they did have the best Royal Rumble moment, or one of my favorite Royal Rumble moments, where they're in the ring and Scotty 2 Hotty comes out and he's just like, "Ah, fuck."
Yeah. Yeah. Pick him up and chuck him
And
out. Yep. Well, I mean, bottom line, Hall of Fame, Great Khali, Eric Bischoff, Kane, Molly Holly, and rumors and rumblings of potentially RVD. I think that as far as that being a rumor, I wouldn't be shocked by it. I know a lot of people seem surprised, but
Yeah, why are people surprised? I wouldn't be shocked. I'm not
yeah, I
sure.
don't know. I feel like he definitely made his stamp on WWE outside of ECW. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's not like, I mean, arguably you could say Tommy Dreamer is still an ECW guy who pops up places. RVD was a world champion in WWE. He definitely made his point there. But ultimately, until we get confirmation on that, I don't want to like dwell on it. So if there's something you want to say about it, Klump, go ahead.
I think, and this is with regard to RVD. I hope it is. He needs to come in. I don't know if I honestly at this point don't know if you need that many more. That many more people coming in this year, and then they usually have like the top, like this is the person who, because you got a lot of people who arguably serve that. To me, RVD was, when I was a kid, one of my absolute favorite wrestlers. He was just so unique and so cool. So yeah, I think he could be the inductee of the class, even though, well, there's a lot of, he's been on the outs of WWE, it seems, for a while,
Well, that's true too. There's been some of that, so maybe that's why people are surprised by it. But
yeah.
I mean, either way, congratulations to everybody who's been announced, and congratulations to people who will be announced.
Yeah.
They did pull Batista from the 2020 class. He is no longer part of the 2020 Hall of Fame.
Wow.
But Batista tweeted out about it, saying that he requested that. He wanted to be removed from it because due to a scheduling conflict, he wouldn't be able to make it to the Hall of Fame ceremony, and he wants to have a chance to be able to speak in front of fans and express his feelings in person. And the WWE obliged and said, "We'll remove you until a later date." Then
They'll probably
Okay.
do it in LA.
yeah. Oh,
I
LA would be
think
nice.
LA is going to be, they'll do him, and I would not be shocked if they do Cena. Would not be shocked at all.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All
because
right,
The
you heard it
Rock's
here
already in
first.
there, right?
Rock's not in.
Yeah. No?
No. So maybe they'll
That's
do
his
Rock.
dad?
I think people thought that Rocky Johnson is, yeah. I think people
Yeah.
thought that with Tampa they were going to do The Rock.
Well, maybe they're
because
doing
he's from
LA.
Florida. I mean,
It
they
makes
still could
sense.
announce The Rock.
Hollywood? No, no, because that's like, it's like The Undertaker. This is a big marquee name.
Yeah.
He'll overshadow everyone else. So,
Yeah, but
well,
look at the other names. And I don't mean to be a dick, but kind of like Klump was just saying, they don't seem to have a giant POW name right now.
Yeah.
They're all good. They're all fine. There's no complaints about anyone they've announced, but none of them have been like, holy shit, can you imagine seeing that person?
Mhm.
You know, maybe you do that one with this group because they do seem kind of like on an even playing field. I mean, Eric Bischoff's probably the one who's the biggest shock factor just because there was a lot of rumors on. I mean, everybody thinks everything's going to affect everybody's chance at getting the Hall of Fame. So
Yeah.
Eric Bischoff is always in and out of that conversation of, oh, he did it this time, or, oh, that's not going to help that cause. You know what I mean? So I think that's why he's the biggest like shock in that regard. But maybe they do The Rock. You know, let everyone talk and let them build up towards a Rock promo and let them be that. But maybe not. Maybe not.
Because I think that LA is probably, it seems in line that a Fast and Furious movie would come out around then.
Zoom.
Funny. That could be good. The only other
I'm
thing I have, the only other thing I have for news leads right into AEW, and we'll talk about those couple of things. But during the AEW show, it was the promo came out, a video release, an announcement that TNT is getting the Roads to the Top television program. Amanda, what do you think about this program?
At first I'm like, oh God, that's what I said really loud. Oh God, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, I don't know what the angle is. Are they trying? This is a company that I thought didn't want to be like WWE. Wasn't that their premise originally? They really didn't want to be like that.
Yeah.
But it's following suit, And I mean, I'm sitting here like, wow, I don't need to see that. Like, I watched The Miz and Mrs. Okay, because I think they're a really cute couple, and I've always liked The Miz. I mean, he's, that's childhood for me because he was on, The Real World, and I watched that crap. So that's why I'm kind of like, I have a soft spot in my heart for The Miz. But and they have this really good chemistry on TV. I don't know. Cody's kind of dull to me. I don't know. He just is kind of dull. Brandy just is, Brandy's Brandy. And I remember they did a reality show on E. I think she was one of the wags in Atlanta. And they weren't on very long of that. But I remember them. Yeah, I remember them being on there.
Wives of Atlanta, famous people.
Yeah.
Producer had something she wanted to say about it real quick.
Oh, I think Ms. and Mrs. I also watched it. I know Marsh doesn't, but I can watch it because they know how to kind of play up the camera, but not like too much. Like they kind of have that great reality show sense of like, oh, got to keep their interest, but not be too boring, but not be too real, and like I don't know. I think it's entertaining for what it is, and also it's I mean I like The Miz when he's being himself more or less.
Okay.
But Justin Time is in the chat, says AEW's Miz and Miss knockoff. Yeah.
So but that also brings up a good point. One of the things that got producer into wrestling is something that I know that Klump was kind of saying before is it comes down to also a different form of representation. Getting people aware of the wrestling business is good for business. one of the things that got producer into wrestling was watching Total Divas.
Really?
Yeah, because I didn't grow up with TV for like the majority of my life, so I just wasn't ever exposed to wrestling. Like a lot of pop culture stuff in general, but also just live events like wrestling in general. I just wasn't aware. So, and I didn't have anyone who was, in my life who was into it. So, my exposure was really started from Total Divas.
Yeah, she was aware of Total Divas. She wasn't watching much of it, but she would watch the pay-per-views when I would watch them. And eventually I saw Total Divas was coming back, and I had seen most of Total Divas because I always got excited when they would show stuff backstage, and then they would do like these weird trips to the woods, and I'd be like, okay, this is an episode I probably don't need to see too much of. But
you don't need to see John Cena axing wood, chopping wood with Daniel Bryan. I didn't need to see that.
I don't know. That was kind of a neat
But I
one.
remember that. I don't know why.
Yeah. Oh, I know why. But
My loins are frothing at the idea.
Yeah.
That's not why.
Oh, yeah.
That's not why about Cena. No.
Klump is a frother. But they do, it does speak to that, right? So I told her, I was like, you might actually like Total Divas. And I was like, it's kind of a different side of the wrestlers that you'd be interested in. And I was like, plus, I think that you'd actually really get a kick out of some of these couples. And by the time that Naomi and Jimmy Uso came on, she was hooked. She goes, this is the greatest couple of all time. And I was like, yes, it is. And then it started being, hey, when is Trinity going to be on a pay-per-view? And I was like, well, Naomi is wrestling in 2 weeks. You know what I mean? And so, like, she would start watching for that. And then when she saw the entrance, and then it's how that whole thing started really happening.
Yeah.
So,
The fuck's a Trinity? Yeah.
Yep. But then it occurs to me this could be good for AEW. It could be bringing people in. I don't know, in the nicest way possible, if introducing people to the personalities of Cody and Brandy is the best lead-in to what the production of Brandy and Cody are on AEW at this point. You know what I mean? I don't know if you're going to get hooked and buy in on both sides the same way. They are disparagingly different, I feel. So I don't know.
Yeah.
But
well, BTE.
eyes is eyes.
Well, BTE pretty much is your other reality show. Now it's more scripted than it used to be, I think. And I don't know. I mean, I kind of, with Cody, I kind of can see why, you have your nightmare family, you have your training facility, you've got all this other stuff, whatnot. And then I think in that 1 minute 30 clip, you saw like MJF. Well, you're not going to see the guy break character. I don't think he does. I think he's just method and he does it all the way around. But,
Maybe.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think it's a decent ambassador because, he was on that stupid game show, whatever, that they were promoting.
I don't think he's a bad ambassador. I didn't mean it like that. I mean, if you're watching Brandy on Roads to the Top and you go, I like her, I want to see her wrestle, and then you see her wrestle, she's not very good in the ring. And her promos have been weirdly flat. I feel like you're going to find a bigger disconnect because I do think they both are very well spoken and they do come off super professional, which also brings a real positive light on the wrestling business. You know what I mean? Because people think of wrestling as being loud and obnoxious and steroids and yelling and spitting, and these people are not that at all. You know what I mean? So I think you'll see a more refined human being who's like, yes, I'm a professional wrestler and I'm a professional human being. Yeah, I think it's a great look for wrestling in general. But I think that if you're portraying that out to the public and then the public sees AEW, they go, wait, you know what I mean?
But then it's like the question of, are we going to keep him on, how much is he going to be still on, Dynamite? I'm not even going to say the other two shows because he's never on there, but Dynamite, so.
Well, it also solidifies that they'll always have a spot for Brandy to do something.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't think it's bad news. I am curious to see what it does. Because here's the other thing. Look at like Total Bellas. That was really popular for a while. And now that neither one of them wrestle, it's not as popular. So now they're talking about coming back. And you're like, it feels like trying to keep those ratings up on both sides. Which also makes sense. And I get it. And I don't think it's all bad. But I do think that there is an interest of wrestling fans that is fickle. Like Daniel Bryan's always said. Klump, was there anything about any of this that we've been missing you wanted to say?
I mean, I agree with both of you guys. It my hope is it's better than it looks, but it doesn't seem necessary or unique or.
Oh my God, this is what happens when you have lemonade instead of coffee.
I know.
You usually have a
Well,
gallon
it's
of
what
coffee.
happens when
Well,
I think about reality TV. I get done with
Exactly. I'm gonna say the subject makes you yawn. Yeah.
it. It's got to keep me awake, and it's not. But I think it could. I mean, there's a lot of interesting things to the Cody Rhodes story and family and the Rhodes family story.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know if this is the way I would tell it. I
Yeah.
honestly think it might be more interesting. And I think it's just because they're seen as the most bankable, but wouldn't it be cool to talk about the Rhodes family? Wouldn't it be cool to, I don't know, like do a doc or like a docu series kind of based on like the Rhodes family? It'd be neat to have I would rather see like a young Cody show, kind of like how they have Young Rock, where they talk about Cody and Dustin growing up in the industry with their dad. Because
That'd be
fucking
funny.
yeah, that'd be cool
Like,
as hell.
Like How I Met Your Mother style and shit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it seems like the thing that they're going for is maybe that broader audience. If they're going for reality show, who's watching reality? It's, just people casually flipping through, or maybe have something on in the background. It's not, it might not be wrestling fans, like Marsh said, so it might just be trying to get that casual viewer.
Yeah, I do wonder. I really want to see how this does, just because it's like, the other thing is I think that WWE fans are a lot more open to seeing anything a WWE wrestler is doing than I think AEW fans are open to seeing anything AEW is doing. Because if you even look at their weekly television versus their YouTubes and their Being the Elites and all those other things, those numbers are not flat. There's a huge spike for for Dynamite only. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And even then, it's not like a huge spike. But if you look at WWE stuff, it's all the same. Seems to be about the 2 to 5 million or so that are watching across the board. Obviously their weekly Raw and SmackDown seems a bit split, but it also seems like if somebody's on one of those shows, that the viewer of both shows will watch the one thing. You know what I mean? Like, you can count on the Raw and SmackDown viewers to combine to go watch Miz and Mrs. It's just kind of neat. It's weird, and I just wonder how it's going to look, because I think that the AEW fan base is maybe not as in tune with the idea of seeing a reality show. Just my feeling. And like you said, didn't they say they weren't going to be that kind of a program? But maybe they are.
Yeah. But I'd like to see, one of the things I would love to see is if we get good old TK coming in there and actually
that'd be so
being
good.
a real person and not this weird douche canoe.
There's no difference.
Horrible. Well,
Don't fool yourself. He's not some
I
meta
don't know.
actor.
I'm trying to give him the benefit of the doubt. Okay.
I have
It's
no
like
doubt.
right now, I think he runs a cult, because there was something on Twitter I saw earlier that a lot of people, I don't know if someone was trying to point this out, but a lot of people will always say the same things about Tony Khan and AEW who are employed there. So it's like, this is the same sentence that pretty much the majority of them will say. Who's not said that? Well, Joey Janela's one who's not said that, and he'll never say that. But, everybody has. And it's really interesting. Lance Archer says it. I think, who else? There are a lot of them. And you can see all these people. And
That'd
it's
be
like,
neat.
well, is it a cult? But I do know that AEW fans are very, very critical about anything. I don't know. The one thing that irks me about AEW is the fans, I think, are the ones that it's like they're really entitled.
Yeah.
And it kills it. So
on the
I don't
flip
know why.
side, there was something that happened on Dark Elevation you thought was really, really awesome. I wanted you to go talk about that.
Oh yeah. Well, first of all, I'd like to thank TK for chopping 2 hours off of television or internet TV and whatever.
Elevation was 2 hours shorter than it was previous?
No, Elevation was an hour and a half, and Dark was an hour and a half.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I was like, okay, I can digest that. Okay, it's fine. But I will say nothing really happened on Dynamite that I thought was not Dynamite, Dark, that I thought was great. But Elevation, actually, you're really starting to see, and now this is the second one, but you really are seeing what the difference is and how they want to use it to develop people. The biggest example is having Paul White on commentary. Now, if you watch it and go in particular, and I'm not saying this because I'm shilling Ricky Starks. I'm not saying that, or Will Hobbs, no. But that was a really great match.
I said that earlier. It's okay to be a shill. Keep it going.
Well, I know, but I'm just disclosing it, that I'm not saying it just because. Don't let the shirt and the backdrop fool you. You know, it's okay.
I'm not shilling Ricky Starks while she's surrounded by Ricky Starks.
Okay, I was given the shirt. Okay. Anyways, this one. So, so against the West Coast Wrecking Crew, I almost called them their other name, which is, NWA, favorite that we used to see, Royce Isaacs, and then his partner.
Yeah.
And when you listen to the commentary with Paul, you can tell that they're really developing Hobbs into something special, because he was so high on Hobbs and talking, especially because, Paul's a big guy, Hobbs is a big guy, and talking about, how he's working as a big guy. And I thought that was really interesting, that you really are seeing a lot of that in the commentary. So it made me go back to listen to some of the matches. And I wish they had a woman to kind of do that for the women's matches too. So I'm hoping like maybe Veda Scott can come back. I don't know. But
cool.
Right there, it's worth it just to hear Paul and Shivani. Of all people, you would think, oh no, not Shivani. What are they going to do? And I think that they've got a good chemistry, because you've got Taz and Excalibur, who are just like two idiots that just, are fucking around, and it's hilarious because you can obviously tell when they're doing their commentary, they don't care, really.
It's goofing off.
It's funny. So, because there are a lot of jokes and really weird things. But yeah, no, this is a really good place to develop talent. And I like the fact that you're getting a spotlight on one person each episode. So last week it was Red Velvet. I'm like the baker lady, Red Velvet. I almost called her pumpkin pie, whatever, because of Shaq. But yeah, so definitely if you have not checked it out, I implore you to check out Elevation. You can watch it at any time. You don't have to watch it live. That's the beauty of YouTube.
That's nice.
And I think they're also now, if I'm not mistaken, they might be putting the times of the different matches.
Oh, little timestamps?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, the
That's
timestamps.
really good.
I think they're doing that. I know they started doing it for Dark, and I don't know if they're doing it with Elevation yet, but they should.
Nice. And speaking of Red Velvet, they announced this week that Red Velvet's officially signed to AEW, which is really nice. I mean, I'm so torn up on that stuff. I think it's so weird to see somebody be so involved in so many storylines for a while, and then here they've been signed by the company. I always feel so weird. I was like I'm always like, oh, that's great news, but then part of me is always all like, why the fuck did they wait so long? They've been using her. You know what I mean? Like, what a tryout. It's fucking year long.
It's like they want to like they're not willing to pull the trigger with people.
It's weird
because I don't know, and because look at Will Hobbs, they didn't pull the trigger on him for quite a while.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden,
but Red Velvet was in that thing with Cargill and was in a program with Brandy, was teaming with Brandy. Yeah. Like, I mean, she's been doing stuff for a while, so it's kind of like, to me, it's a surprise, but it's good news. Ultimately, good news.
Yeah, I think maybe the women, it's different because they're trying to build this division, and the one person that has not signed yet, Thunder Rosa, it's like, well, she's gonna sign, she's not gonna sign, what's she gonna do? I think that's it's weighing heavy. And I've noticed that some of the women that you're seeing on AEW, they're doing other things. I think someone did NWA. Was it Alex Gracia? I think she did NWA, and and they're doing all these other things too. So I wouldn't be surprised if some of these ones, like, okay, well, if you're not looking at me, if I can go elsewhere and do some things, I'm gonna do that. So,
yeah, I mean, look at Danny Jordan. She's been at like every taping of Dynamite for months and months.
She needs to lose the Mean Girls thing. She's good, but get rid of that, because
I mean, I agree. I think the Mean Girls gimmick is the biggest issue, but I also think that they're using her a lot. And I mean, so much so that she had a match on Dynamite, like, what was it, against Cargill, like a couple weeks ago?
Yeah.
And when she gets into the ring, you can see her turn over to the part of the crowd she just left from and goes like, eh. And then all her friends start chanting. They're chanting for her, and they're trying to get the crowd to start chanting for her because they're basically trying to force the hand to being like, see, Tony, you should sign her. The crowd's chanting. But it's literally all the wrestlers from the back sitting ringside chanting, so it's a little weird.
The Gunn
It
brothers.
comes off a little forced. But also at the same time, it's all like, I hear you, though, because why aren't you signed? You know?
Yeah.
But, and maybe, I don't know, maybe like you said, maybe the Mean Girls gimmick could be in such a way that maybe it's hard to sign someone like that because they're not the type of company to tell someone you have to change your gimmick, but maybe they know enough about copyrights and stuff to say, hey, this could be a potential issue down the line.
Well, look at
You know what I mean?
the songs and licensing songs. So Orange Cassidy has a new song that was licensed to him.
So Orange
And
Fanta?
what one? What?
Fanta? The Fanta song? I wanna Fanta. Don't you wanna
No.
wanna Fanta?
No, that would have been great. I would have been great though. And then you throw that Fantas, that'd been great. Or orange Nerf balls, that'd been great. But no, I don't remember the name of the song. I think the Pixies do it. I think.
Okay.
But he was trying to get, I guess he said in an interview, he was trying to get Jane for him, but Jefferson Starship didn't, call him back. I'm like, yeah, I guess you're
Funny.
you're not important. But I really think that, if you're going to be doing those kinds of things, obviously he's doing it for people that he's invested in. So I don't think
that's true.
Danny Jordan's one that he would kind of go, hey, Tina Fey.
Oh, yeah.
Let's talk
Push-
about,
yeah.
let's talk
Call
about
Tina
Mean
real
Girls,
quick. Well, let's see. Let's keep it moving. There was 2 matches on Dynamite you said that were something you wanted to bring up, and then we'll talk NXT.
Absolutely. First of all, I want to give kudos to Matt Sydal. That guy can still go. And I didn't realize he was older than Kenny Omega. And that shocked me. He looked good. Kenny, on the other hand, but that's another story for another day. The 2 matches I want to talk about, first of all, it's that Young Bucks and Brandon Cutler versus the Lucha Brothers and Laredo Kid. Now, I've said before, sometimes with some of these Lucha Brother matches, I'm like, I've seen better. It was very underwhelming. But this one, all 3 on each side were absolutely fantastic. So I hope they're bringing. I know next week that Laredo Kid is wrestling next week with the Lucha Brothers again because they're doing the Good Brothers and Omega versus them. So that's going to be great. Nice. But I think that it really made Brandon Cutler elevate his game, and he looked actually pretty good, and he could hang with these guys. So that's kind of kudos to him. The Bucks were more of that old traditional Young Bucks that most people know and love, and not this, regurgitated, same, moves of doom or whatever the hell, They actually had some really great spots. Everyone had a moment to shine. And I think that when they have that right element, it works, and it works very, very well. So that's one, definitely, if you didn't see it, I would definitely say you got to check that out because it was actually really good. And
that might
storytelling
be a good one
in it
for Klump to check out because he liked the Young Bucks for a really long time and has been kind of disappointed in their last few matches. So this might be one.
I think you will be. I remember these Young Bucks. Yeah, that's what I kept thinking in my mind. I'm like, this is like vintage old PWG Young Bucks.
That's
old
cool.
ROH Young Bucks. I'd say like kind of middle of the run when they were in Japan, but not like toward the end or anything because the end it started getting really dog and pony show.
Klump's like, I remember you.
Yes. So definitely that's a plus. And the other one that really shook my socks was Darby Allin and John Silver. Okay, now John Silver to me, he for a while he's been really irritating me because I watch BTE. He's really obnoxious, and I'm like, no, dude, just calm down. I get you're hungry.
I've had bowel movements bigger than him, so it's kind of weird.
Yeah. Well, and it was cute because him and Darby are also small people.
Can confirm.
Mm-hmm. I'm not going to disagree with that one. I can see that happening. But it was really interesting because Dark Order all of them were out there, supporting him. No -1. but everyone was out there. They did not get involved in the match, which is great. Well, they did, but it wasn't anything that, it hurt the match or anything. Like basically, like Alan Angels took a tope suicida from Darby because he moved Silver out of the way. I think Evil Uno did something. I can't remember. But anyways, what was interesting about this particular match is the first, I'd say 2 minutes were all mat work. Again,
Nice.
that's not what you see of Darby. And then we were
Well-
reminded of, oh, did you know that Darby, was, he wrestled in high school? Well, I didn't know that. I'm like, oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, that's like
So he's not-
vintage Darby stuff too. Because I remember Darby and Cody was a lot of mat work. I know when Darby came through Tucson and had a match out this way that we saw, he was doing a lot of mat work. Like,
Yeah.
but yeah, you're right. He's started leaning a lot more towards the danger dives. But it is cool to hear that he's back wrestling. And plus, he did it with Janela. Remember, that was a lot of mat work.
Oh, yeah.
right? He's got it in him.
Yeah, he's got it in him. And I was really impressed that when I was watching the chemistry that the two of them had, and it could have gone either way. I mean, John Silver was so impressive in this match. I thought about the match with Cage. And if I compare the two, the match with Cage was really stale when I look back.
Mhm.
It felt very mechanical, and it was, there wasn't anything to write home about because they have a storyline built there, but that match did nothing for the storyline really.
Yeah.
And yes, we did see Sting again. It's getting really old. Doesn't matter if it's Team Taz or it's the Dark Order. Came out with his bat, because he thought Dark Order was, going to rush Darby and whatnot. It's like, you can't have dad moments all the time. But then later, come to find, I think they're setting something up with him and Matt Hardy. I really don't want to see that, if that's true. Especially because right now Matt Hardy and like his story stuff is kind of funky
Okay.
and not
Yeah.
fun.
The stuff you saw with
You know-
Sting, that was on camera, right? Because I saw a little bit of a clip of after the cameras, I think, went off, where he was all like, AEW's the place to be, AEW's home,
Yeah.
woo, Showtime, woo.
Mhm.
And then Darby took the mic and said, he goes, I don't think that people noticed it. And he's like, John, correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't you dislocate your shoulder right at the beginning of the match?
He did.
He's like,
He did.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, and he was a trooper. Like, you can tell, like, he was just, oh God, I got to go through it. And I hope he's not out for a long time. That would really kind of suck
yeah,
for
bummer.
the Dark Order in particular.
Mhm.
But, I mean, who knows? But I think that, with Sting, it's like, we know you're going to have a cinematic match. If you're doing Matt Hardy, it's probably going to go back to the Hardy compound. Are you going to go back and be, broken Matt Hardy again? I mean, what are you going to do? So I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see. And also, I think that Omega and Callis, that's getting old too. I hear a rumor that on WrestleMania week that Impact is moving to Thursday night. Well, we know who's not going to be watching that. A lot of people,
Well,
me included.
yeah, we don't watch it now.
Yeah, I mean, so it's really strange, and
Yeah.
I don't think. Yeah, it's getting to.
Well, here's the weird bit, right? So Kenny had an announced thing on Impact and was there this week, and they said it's like record low viewership, that it's some of the lowest viewership Impact's had since even getting back on the air from pandemic. So it's kind of one of those things where you're like, okay, this was supposed to be the big Forbidden Door opening, and this was supposed to be the big hype. This is supposed to be the big, everyone's combining together with their powers combined. They're going to be Captain Planet and take out the evil WWE Empire. But it feels like even Impact fans are turning off when Kenny's there at this point.
Yeah, because look at he's supposed to face Rich Swann in a pay-per-view that's a month away.
Yeah.
And they've had build-up for the last couple of weeks for, again, pay-per-view that's a month away. So, a lot can happen in that month. I mean, Swan could get injured, Omega could get injured. I mean, anything. It's a lot of build-up, and I think that it's been a letdown. So I think that's people with Impact are like, we're done. Unless you're going to bring like women over here, unless you're going to bring like Thunder Rosa over here to wrestle people, unless you're going to bring, Deeb, or you're going to bring, Shida, then don't bother. I think that
Yeah.
that's where people are at now.
Yeah,
And
I feel like
would be
that's
frustrated.
yeah, because ever since the Forbidden Door was swung open, people were saying that. But even then, with the NJPW Forbidden Door, what have we seen since the one time Kenta was on? Anything? You know what I mean? Like, it's one
Not
thing
on
to keep saying you've opened up these doors, but like, if AEW Dynamite's the same and Impact is largely the same and everything's repetitive, then it's not as valuable. Klump, you had something you're about to say? Something like?
I was gonna say we've seen more out of NJPW and Impact's relationship than
Mhm.
AEW and NJPW,
Yeah.
or I would argue AEW and Impact.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they've had more of a presence, but if we're gonna let tag titles switch across, you know, you're saying you got some ideas here, and it could work out. But yeah, I'm kind of. I want an end to Callus specifically. Like,
Yeah.
I can't stand the fucker. Like, I feel like, and believe me, I want to. I love Kenny Omega, but this combination of them, and it's not. It's the definition of go away heat.
Yeah.
It is. I'm not mad at you. It's not. I dislike this guy. Boo, bad guy. It's get the fuck off my screen and don't come back till you think of something better, because I'm done with this.
Yeah.
Well, and that's
And I
what's
think
happened.
that's what
We
we're
haven't
seeing
watched in
right
months
now.
now. I do want to mention one thing real quick. I don't want us to go like too far down this rabbit hole of some of the stuff we're not liking, but I do think it's notable. Sting had an interview recently, and they asked him about coming back for the match, and he said, let's see, we got a quote here. He says, "The cinematic match was fun." He goes, "I would like to do more of those for sure, but I came out of it in shambles. It took its toll on me. It was 2 nights of filming, and that was pretty tough. It can be taxing on the body, especially at my age." He goes, it was 12 hours instead of being in the ring for 30 to 40 minutes. He's like, "I love filming. I've done movies and TVs, always have fun with that stuff. Tough part was all the hours and the recovery time," which I think is really notable too, because Undertaker even mentioned that in an interview, especially with him breaking the glass with his arm and actually getting an actual giant gash on his arm. They talked about how they filmed for all day, like 12, 13, 14, 15 hours, something crazy like that too. And he talked about how that was way more difficult than had he just done a match. He said his conditioning had to be up, but he's like, a match is over in 30 minutes. He goes, this is 12 hours. And he goes, and your adrenaline drains and then you're still doing it. He goes, you're still riding adrenaline in a match. So I think it's really notable and kind of, in a way, funny, not funny, haha, funny, curious, that as fans, and we all think that we know better because all of us fans always know better, we're all like, oh, it'll be better for the old timers if they come back and do cinematic matches. It'll be a way to protect their bodies. It'll be a way to keep them from having to strain themselves too much. It'll be nice and relaxing. And it's like, we're all so dumb. We're just so stupid.
But didn't he have a double? He had a double do a lot of his stuff. I'm like, dude, bro,
That's the other thing, yeah.
No, you had a double. I don't buy that. I don't buy that.
Whether
Sorry.
or not, well, that hasn't been released, but whether or not that's,
You can
I mean, it
go.
definitely looked like a double to me for sure. But that doesn't mean he didn't do any bumps, and he
I'm
was
not
probably
saying
there all
he
day.
didn't. But I'm sure the majority of it was a double. It wasn't him.
I think they had
Bumped
like,
his ass over to craft services.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He walks over eating jerky. No, I wouldn't do it like that. Oh,
No. Hold on.
Do it like
Let me
this.
put
I would do
the
it this way.
No, you really got to get your neck into it. You land on your neck. Damn, this is a good cheap steak.
Yeah, this is good. Yeah,
As much on the upper neck and kind of like lower back. That's kind of what you're going for. Try it again.
I did get injured. I burned the roof of my mouth on the hot cheese.
Yeah. That starts kid is young. It's okay. You can like break his arm. It's fine. Yeah.
But that's all I think we have for AEW, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Justin Time is saying in the chat, though, whole Forbidden Door stuff's been honestly a big flop. And I think so, too, because I think that it's kind of like you said, the majority of people were like, okay, obviously we're going to get the Good Brothers and the Elite back together. We're obviously going to see some stuff with Kenny going over there. And like, but what about the other stuff that's not obvious? And then it turns out there's literally nothing else they're doing. They're only doing the obvious stuff. So all the stuff people were like secretly excited about, because they were saying like, oh, the sleeper hit's going to be when they start getting the women to go back and forth. And how amazing is it going to be for the AEW roster to be working some of the women in an Impact, but they've definitely kept them apart. So I agree. I think it's been a flop because the excitement was in the not obvious, and you've only delivered in the obvious. So it's like,
I'll say that I would love to see Finn Juice, who took the titles off of the Good Brothers. I'd love to see them go to AEW and actually take the belts off the Bucks. So then they have both of these. It's like,
that'd be wild.
That's your forbidden door there. It's like, good luck with that. And you're seeing people who, both of them are phenomenal, period. But you're seeing a different side of that door, because I'm like, you're not going to bring Tanahashi with the good hair. You're not going to bring, you're not bringing him over. As much as I would love that, no, you're not. So, and you're not getting, Naito. People can stop. They're not going to get LIJ. So, you got to take what you can, and that's.
It'd be good if they did, but they're just not. So.
Well, Tony's got, he's got his little, it's his little, character and whatever. He needs to talk about like 9 days and all that crap. So.
Yeah, 9 days on Impact. In 9 days on Impact.
There's a reason we all talk about, working in wrestling and it'd be cool to be a writer. We never talk about doing it for AEW.
Oh, I would. I could shape that place up like nobody's business.
I'd burn it the fuck down. But...
No, you wouldn't burn it down. No, seriously.
Klump's like, I got an idea.
I get
Inferno
you, Amanda.
match.
Wink. We'll make it work out. Totally gonna fucking light it on fire.
Yeah. He's like, what about an Inferno match? We'll have a wrestler set it up.
Real fire this time.
Yeah. Well, let's talk NXT.
Yeah.
NXT. Man, they're really shaping up Stand and Deliver. I'll say my biggest complaint about NXT was I didn't see Xia Li this week, and I've been really hoping we're going to get some crazy Xia Li stuff for Stand and Deliver, but I think there's still time. And even NXT tweeted out today something about Tian Sha, and I'm really hoping. I really do want a tag team match. I want Xia and her mentor against Casey and Caden, but I also agree. I think Justin said it in the chat before. You either always keep her out of the ring, or she better fucking deliver when she's in there. And I hear that, but that's my only complaint is I didn't get any Xia. Klump, you watched NXT. What'd you think?
I thought it was a good ass show. It was solid. It had great moments. I can't think of a part of the show I particularly didn't like. I didn't like. I mean, the way shit, but it was short. I didn't have to deal with them for a long time on screen.
That's a good point.
It
opened up with Zoe Stark and Io Shirai versus Raquel and Dakota Kai. I thought you were going to dig that one.
Like, good or bad?
Good. I thought you'd like it because they're three of your favorites and Zoe Stark. You're just getting to get to know. Yeah. I don't know if you've been able to, because I don't know if you're able to catch up on the weeks that you're not able to catch the stuff. Is this the first time you got to see Zoe Stark wrestle?
It is.
What'd you think, man?
One of these things is not like the other, but they worked out. Like I was like, oh, this is who? Like right? I knew. Well, it was because it was Raquel Gonzalez, Dakota Kai. I'm like awesome, and then Zoe Stark, and I'm like, okay, who's the other? Because I have not watched it. This is not a knock on her. Who's the other jobber that's gonna come out and lose with her? And I was like, Io Shirai. I was like, what happened?
Yeah, I have missed a few steps.
That's not a jobber.
Yeah, either things have gone very well for this person and I'm out of it, or I'm so sorry, Io, you had a great run. What did you do wrong? Who did you piss off?
I've missed a whole middle section.
Why is Trips mad?
Yeah, but imagine being Zoe Stark. You get in the company, you have one jobber match because she went over on a jobber. Then her second match was a title match against Io. Her third match was against Dakota Kai, and her fourth match is teaming with Io. It's like, fuck, talk about skyrocket. They're immediately like, hey, she needs to be floating around these names,
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Oh, producer, something you want to say?
Yeah, I just want to say how much I loved the first match. Like, I thought everyone looked so good. So on top of their game. I love that Zoe Stark is being pushed. I love that just everyone looked awesome. I couldn't predict who was going to win. I like that. It just, it seemed really, really fun to watch. I'm liking the story building. Yeah, all great things. I was pretty happy.
Yeah, I think everyone looked badass. Klump, I know that you thought going into it, Zoe Starks didn't seem to be matching the other ones, but once the match went through, what'd you think of her as a wrestler?
I think she did good. She held up with 3 fantastic performers. I would say 3 of the best in NXT right now, which means 3 of the best in wrestling right now. Yeah. She didn't feel like, okay, one of these is out. It is upsetting that they ate the pin, but it made sense for it. You know, this is, for a lot of people, this is a bit newer, so it makes sense. But I also could have seen her get the win. Like, I was wondering, is this going to be like a Leo Ruff situation or something like that? Yeah. I thought did their job well. Made for a great match. No beats were missed. You know. Yeah,
really cool. Really cool to see Zoe in the mix with them, and then hold her own. So I wanted to get your take on it because I had a feeling watching this, and I was like, you know what? I think Klump will really like this one, but I also don't think Klump's actually been able to see Zoe wrestle yet. So this is going to be really crazy for him. Amanda?
Yeah, because I think last time she wrestled, I don't think Klump wasn't with us that time. So, Zoe Stark, she just totally, she kills it on every level. And I think that it's a testament to this new crop of women. Now, some of the ones that they just signed, with the exception of Taya Valkyrie, I don't think that there's anybody who could probably be thrust into the spotlight like Zoe is right now. Yeah. I mean, and she's good, and it's not anything where you kind of question, because sometimes, like, even with, like, Casey and Caden, sometimes I question, I don't know, or Aaliyah, I don't know, in Shotzi too. So I think that's that's something to kind of consider and think about, that they have that caliber that's there, and if these girls are coming in, or women, sorry, not girls, women are coming in with that level of performance, I think that it's just going to be amazing. And I know that's one of the reasons why I've been, like, totally high on NXT, because you're actually seeing, some really good movement as far as how they're pushing people and when they're pushing them, and building their stories individually. So I'm a sucker for that.
Yeah, Justin Times in the chat, he said Sean Ross Sapp from Frightful reportedly confirmed that Tien Shaw is Karen Q. Come on, NXT, let's get that tag match. Give us what we want. I would venture to say that we broke that news weeks ago.
We did.
And Sean, thank you for listening. I didn't realize Sean was a fellow drinking buddy.
Mm-hmm.
Sean's hanging out. We got Bruce Pritchard in the chat as always. Very nice to know we have another fan out there, Sean.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Like I said, we are influencers.
We're influencers, and we're journalists, because we make it up as we go, and we just be right all the time on accident.
Yeah, we're just
and we started on episode 1, so I think that's impressive.
That's true. Yeah, that good at episode 1.
I'm still waiting for the theme park. Every time I log into Peacock, I'm like, where's my theme park?
We'll get it.
I want to be on that committee.
Oh, I think it was Izzy. I want to say she was at, like, was it Universal? Mm-hmm. And there was an NXT poster, and she was all super excited. Yeah. And I was gonna tag Amanda to be like, "It's begun."
Yeah. They're setting the ground rules. They're setting the foundation now. But I think NXT started strong, man. It started out with that tag match, and then went from there to a promo by by LA Knight. LA Knight, yeah. That's just a fact of life. Let me talk to you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Klump, you were watching Power though, weren't you, Klump?
What?
When NWA was on, weren't you watching Power? Didn't you come to most of the watch-alongs?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you know Eli Drake. You're down with LA Knight.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. He was that guy with that drunk cowboy, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
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 I liked him more than drunk cowboy.
Yeah.
Oh, poor James Storm.
James Storm.
Drunk cowboy got annoying as fuck. I'm sorry.
Well,
you know
he
who
was
was
maybe
annoying as
drunk.
fuck? It
Drunk
was
cowboy?
Aaron Stevens. No, Aaron Stevens.
No.
And
Okay.
Zicky Dice. And Zicky
Okay.
Dice.
We're gonna stop the slander because we're being
That's the worst.
positive,
We're Captain
but we
Penis
liked
Trunks.
LA Knight.
Okay, we don't need to trash NWA right now. Yeah.
Quite.
But we have an
No.
LA Knight promo, which leads into a match against Bronson Reed.
Which
this-
Bronson Reed looked fantastic, and LA Knight sold like a motherfucker.
Right? Yo,
Ow.
go ahead. Talk about it, Klump. Talk about it.
Like, I watched this and I was like, I was wondering coming in, I was like, okay, so, I mean, I Bronson Reed can't lose this. I don't know if LA Knight can lose this either, but it makes more sense because you can build him up. But fuck, was it a good match? And damn, LA Knight sold for Bronson Reed and got his ass handed to him. And I think LA Knight is. The only thing I don't like about LA Knight, he's one of the best talkers, period. And we're seeing that so rapidly. And they're trying to make him a heel. And yeah, I want to hate him as a heel, but he's just a bit too over for me at times where I'm like, I like you too much. You
I know.
fuck.
I can't boo you, dude.
Yeah. I see your like goddamn moving pictures around the ring because I forgot the word for video package. And
Yeah.
I'm like, what? Like, I want to punch every one of those dumbass faces with those dumbass Batista glasses.
Yeah.
But it works so well.
Yeah.
Like,
so good.
Him and Baron Corbin would be an amazing shitty tag team, and I want that to happen.
That's exactly who I thought of. Because I was thinking, if we're talking heels that we love to hate, but we still love, Baron's definitely one of them.
Oh my god.
They could just have them be like moneyed their team could be called moneyed assholes. And like they host like a home shopping network segment where they just like show shit you can't afford.
Okay. No, I see that. They could have watches and stuff. They could be doing, they do their, like, it's like home shopping networks, but it's a garage sale. I'm just trying to get rid of my Rolex. It's only $100,000. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, I just need to get rid of these shoes. They were only, $5,000 for the pair of shoes. Just as one thing. Yeah. I just need one. I'm just getting rid of this custom Gucci. It's for sale. Anybody can have it.
Yeah,
They sell
like,
it to each other.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right? They sell to each other.
Yeah. You heard it here first.
You heard it here first. And every king needs a knight.
I see what you did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Talk to
No.
me. Yeah. He doesn't like it when I hit the high ones. I like the high ones.
I just like, damn, that's gonna happen. And we're gonna get tired of
Yeah.
it, and I'm gonna blame you.
No, we're not. No, you can never get
Here's
tired
hoping.
of that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. You can't.
Cheers to Grim Reaper coming through. He says, "Hello, la la la."
Hello.
He's like a
I diddly ho there, burrito.
Hello. Grim Reaper does say, "I can see LA Knight and Bronson meet in the finals of the Eliminator, and LA Knight gets the shot at the end and at the North American title." And then Justin says, "If that don't blow your mind, then I don't know what will." Yeah, so I agree. Here's the deal. So LA Knight loses the match by fucking base jumping to the top rope. Gets up there and slips off as Bronson kind of like pushes him down. And then Bronson gets the tsunami splash, which is just the meanest panini press of a fucking slam on a human.
Yeah, I honestly don't think there's any selling that's involved in that. I think that hurts every time. Doesn't matter who it is.
Just looking at it, I feel like before the match, the guy's like, "You got strong bones?" What?
I just want you to know, buddy, nothing personal. Wait, why?
Yeah.
You're just laying
And
there.
on that landing, Bronson Reed fires out his muffler.
Oh, yeah.
He's just laying there like, think strong, think strong, think strong.
Yeah. I know. I'm a rock. That's what it looks like. So it does give LA Knight the out, but it is like I was telling you before, I was saying it. I was real nervous about this match because I thought I like both these guys too much. They both need wins so bad right now. LA Knight needs wins because he's coming in strong. He's coming in, like you said, with the $1 million promos every time. But you got Bronson Reed, who's been sort of floundering and always kind of like bubbling around that North American title area, but not quite getting there. He really needs a good, strong push, too, because I feel like that both these dudes in their own way are two of my absolute favorites on this entire roster. So I wasn't ready to see them face off yet, and I loved this match. Because like you said, LA Knight made Bronson Reed seem like an absolute wrecking ball. But LA Knight also came out as a superb wrestler who could maybe get the job done. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then I love how Bronson's just so massive. He makes Knight look tiny.
Yeah.
And you're like, this dude's huge.
That's true. When they were standing side by side, she's all like, why does LA Knight look kind of small? And I was like, because Bronson Reed's a human wrecking ball. Like, he's enormous. Because, I've taken a picture with Eli Drake at the time, LA Knight, and he's huge. The dude's huge. I also think that it's really funny that LA Knight comes in with like, you know what your guys' problem is? The reason I'm not making y'all t-shirts. You don't have enough slogans you can't fit into a promo. So now he's got like 5. Like, take your pick. I've made a bunch of them happen all the time. Just start making shirts. Let's just start printing money, baby.
Jesus.
I don't know why, but I could also see him and Grimes together.
I don't love it like that.
LA Knight and Cameron Grimes? I can see them being forced together.
Oh
Yeah.
no, that would be some magic right there, actually, to be quite honest with you. Yeah,
because he's making money now.
I'd really love to see that.
Now he can roll
We've
with
established
Knight.
whenever we talk about LA Knight that we have to. It can't just be a simple though. It's good. It's got to be that dumbass
Yeah.
Yeah.
Redo.
Yeah.
Yeah. Redo it. There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Grim Reaper says it's because he's colossal. That is true.
Yeah, and like Bronson Reed, he's no joke. I mean, that I tweeted out that I miss seeing him on the indies because his power, like, it's really interesting because when you have these bigger guys, you normally think, okay, it's all power, it's not, whatever. But no, the guy, just like a Brody King, can fucking haul ass, and it's impressive because you're like, oh, usually big guy, oh. But no, I mean, he can move, and there's lots of matches I'd love to see other big guys him face, like Hobbs. I love that, or who else was there? There was another one I couldn't remember. That's does GCW every once in a while, but
Brock Lesnar.
oh yeah, Calvin Tankman, and
Lesnar.
no, I don't want to see that. No. But I think that I mean, you can't deny like LA Knight is just this was a hard one, but I knew it was going to be a great match. And it just goes to show you, if you didn't know who LA Knight was before, now you really do. And I think I think maybe he opened up his fan base a lot more because of that match.
And that is just a fact of life. Yeah.
Yeah. And hell, even that promo that was on Twitter that I told you about.
Oh,
that,
yeah.
That was amazing. That was amazing. I mean, that is classic LA Knight right there.
So good, yeah. Go to the NXT Twitter and check it out. There was an aftermatch interview. So funny. It was so good. He was being such a smart ass. And he even goes like, he's all like, who's going to be the one on top? And he does the fingers. And then he's all like, that was your chance to say it. You didn't do it. I'm leaving. And like walks off. And like,
yeah.
So good.
That was the best. It was the best. I popped hard.
Anything we missed, Klump?
Nah. I think we're good. Let's keep bouncing.
All right. I just really liked that one. It was a big highlight for me.
It's so good.
So good. Just so good. Let's see. After that, though, we did end up with Oney Lorcan versus Karrion Kross with Scarlett. This was a remarkably brutal match.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. See, we don't have to do it long that way. It's more like, oh, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
That was an event there. That ouch.
Yeah, that looked like it hurt a lot of people. And then even after the end, when Finn Balor came out and Karrion Kross was looking right at him, it looked like Kross had like scratch marks on his neck or something. I was like, what is going on?
Don't king shame. He had fun.
He was possessed. I don't
Yeah.
But it
What
was
did
very
you?
intense.
Go ahead.
It
Go
was
ahead, Amanda. Talk about it.
intense. You know, I mean, I don't know. I don't know about you, but I don't know. That was just intense from the moment. Like the moment, because you know, obviously Cross's entrance is already, you know. But when Orny Logan came out, it's already there was like this feeling that was in the room that you're like, oh God, this is gonna be brutal. You know, hope no one gets severely injured because it's gonna be good brutality. Let's just say. And I was right about that. And I thought that, man, it was almost like too good. And I get why, you know, they had the match, but you know, I mean, it really makes me question now if Takeover, if he'll beat Balor. I don't know. Yeah, it's hard.
I'm
I
having
mean,
a
this
hard time calling
match
that
made
one.
it hard. Now.
Yeah. Klump, what'd you think?
I'm curious to see where it goes. I thought the match was fantastic. Yeah, it was brutal as fuck. I wasn't sure. I kind of have felt like Karrion Kross got kicked down a bit since he came back. So I don't know. To me, if he was ready for Finn Balor before this, but I just think when that ended and they had that face to face, I was like, okay, I think you guys can do this. I think it'd be a cool match. I think it's a good feud.
Yeah. So if Karrion Kross takes out Oni and Danny Burch, does that mean we eventually get Karrion Kross versus Pat McAfee?
No.
You just want more Pat.
Nice try. Nice try. Yeah.
Fuck you. Nice try. Pete Dunne versus Karrion Kross would be an interesting David and Goliath thing, especially now that Pete Dunne's lost a shit ton of weight.
Yeah, that'd be
He's
interesting.
gonna be broken. Yeah, he's gonna like.
Oh, and he can be trying to snap his fingers and shit.
Yeah, even like Bronson Reed. I don't know why I would think that would be a very good match, him and Kross. But I think that would be an excellent one too, because
Could be.
Kross is pretty strong, and I think that it'd be brutal on a different level, because I think there's different levels of brutal, and I think that would be something different.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
I want to see Karrion Kross yeet someone smaller, like just properly like toss the shit out of them.
Oh, like
Well, during that street
Pete Dunne.
fight thing he had with Escobar, one of his buddies there, he picked up two of them and threw them through the fence, right?
yeah, he threw one of them through that plexi in the fence. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, but I mean, I know what you mean. Like you want like a Keith Lee for some distance, kind of a yeet, as it were.
Well, let me tell you, Klump, don't wish upon things like that, because they don't happen. And that's my comment when we get to Walter.
Yeah.
Which is up next. Klump, Walter's one of your favorites.
Yeah.
We've always really enjoyed Drake Maverick. Rest in peace. Klump,
Yeah.
what'd you think of this match?
I feel bad for Drake Maverick. I feel like
You didn't take a chop.
fair.
That's what I wanted.
That's fair.
I want to hear that whack and then him fly across the ring. But that's
Yeah. And he would have sold the ever-living fuck out of it, which
I
would have been
know.
amazing.
That's why I wanted to see it.
Like, they might have said, "Hey, we're gonna chop you." Okay, so I die. Okay, we're not gonna chop you because I could see you doing that. Like,
Yeah.
like I could see them chopping Drake, and just out of sheer desire to be the most selling, he explodes and just red mist. Like, but I felt bad just like from like. I totally for some reason forgot Maverick's dopey ass music, and I was like, "Oh man, little buddy!" Like it just made like, hell, this isn't gonna go well. And then it didn't.
Yeah, it was wild. But I agree. There was at the end of it, I was like, well, at least Drake got out of getting a chop, because that might have been too much. Like you said. Like you could have taken it and there would just been like red powder, just like a red mist in the shape of Drake Maverick where he used to stand.
You'd probably have half of his of his chest would be Walter's hand.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wanted to see that.
What do you think of it? I thought so. Overall, the match was relatively short, but I thought it was pretty solid in general for what it was, and I was really surprised and really liked the finish of it, where Walter does a power bomb, which just kills Drake Maverick. He's just out cold, but that's not enough for him. He doesn't go for a pin. He puts him in a submission that he can't even react to. The fact that he was no-selling a submission because he was unconscious was so fucking wonderful, dude. I thought Drake Maverick was next level in his selling in this. He couldn't tap or scream or anything because he was just out. Like, you could have ripped his arm out of his socket and it wouldn't have mattered.
He would stay.
Yeah. Just amazing. Yeah. Just amazing.
Yeah. But I will say that's the only thing that disappointed me with NXT was I did not get Drake Maverick did not get chopped by Walter. That for me, I was pissed. I was like, damn it. When I'm watching this, well, I'm like, because it's better wrestling than what I saw earlier. But, you know,
I really wanted that. Is that an insult to Drake, or is that a, hey, I really like you, buddy?
Right?
No, it's more of a, no, it's not even an insult at all. I'm like, damn, I mean, that's just powerful. And to see, when you see smaller people, a lot smaller, like maybe half the size of you, and, you know, I mean, as a small person, as a short person, I you know, I love to see that kind of shit. Short person violence. It's great.
I mean, think about how brutal they've made the chop look to Ciampa at this point. And Ciampa's twice the size of Drake. Yeah. Ciampa so far has taken 2 chops and collapsed heaving after both chops. It's been fucking incredible. Which also happened at the end of this match. Ciampa came out, got involved, got tied up, got chopped.
That chop was brutal. The sound, I mean, that's atypical. Yeah, Walter hit it. Right. That sound. And I'm like, oh, you can feel it. And yeah, I'm like, yeah. But I will say I'm very intrigued by Ciampa versus Walter. Very, very intrigued by that. Because I don't think it was on the indies at all. I don't think they ever.
For the NXT UK title at a takeover, which I think is pretty damn cool.
Yeah.
And what do you think about this? Oh, go ahead, Amanda. And then pitch it to Klump.
Yeah, I think it would probably, if Ciampa were to beat Walter and go over to the UK, that's what we can do with Ciampa as like the 7th year senior in high school.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah. That would make sense. I think, a UK run with Ciampa could be incredible.
Yeah. And I think it'd be good because the NXT UK has fantastic matches. I think they're struggling, or there's a perception that they're struggling because maybe they're not getting enough attention on them. Mm-hmm. So Ciampa going over there and, you know, maybe as things open up, having more feuds that go across, you could do that in a way that would really draw attention. I'd love to see, you know, occasionally like more NXT UK matches on like NXT takeovers. Like, that'd be fantastic. So I'm down. I think it can go both ways. I mean, right now I want Thatcher and Ciampa in England because I could see a lot of good matches.
Yeah, the English UK tag team division.
Yeah. What's neat. That wee Russian fucker?
Oh, Ilya.
Yeah, Dragunov?
Yeah, Dragunov.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think some way of getting him and Ciampa or him and Thatcher just because of the weird, creepy evilness. I support this.
Yep. I think that him and Ciampa would be just phenomenal.
We could reenact the Cold War.
Yeah, I don't think. Well, with Thatcher, it would be a little different, and I don't know. I think Ilya, like what we love about Ilya, probably wouldn't shine really with that. So, but definitely Ciampa, I'd say, yeah, that'd be.
Yeah, but I think Ilya and Ciampa would be insanely good.
Mm-hmm.
Man, that'd be so dope.
Yeah.
That'd be so dope. So this segment was pretty perfect. Pretty perfect for us. Yeah, Ilya wouldn't give a fuck. He'd be like, yeah, dude, I'll cave in your chest with my knees. It's totally fine.
Did anyone
Yeah.
else notice how everyone was trying to do chops? Like Walter was looking in the back.
Oh, producer felt like there was a lot more chops than we've been seeing lately. She was all like, do you think they're trying to impress Walter in the back? And he's all like, cute. And I was like, I hope.
Probably. Oh, that was nice.
It'd be great if they did like a WWE. Oh, they should do part of WrestleMania week, an All-Star week, and they have a chop contest. And some poor, it's gonna be Drake Maverick.
Yeah.
Is the choppy
You know, the other choppy would probably be Cameron Grimes.
or Daniel Bryan?
No,
Yeah.
they wouldn't do that to him.
Yeah.
That's so funny. That's so good. Let's see. We can keep it going. It was just so solid, man. So we had a
Hey,
women's tag. Go ahead.
Wait, are we seeing Walter wrestle at TakeOver?
Yeah, against Ciampa for the title.
Oh, that's right. Durr. Okay, sorry. I'm brain dead.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, it's gonna be dope.
Yeah.
I'm loving
that's
everything
all-
they're doing with Walter. I'm so happy to see him over here. I know he's been saying for a long time he doesn't ever want to move to America, and I hear him. I agree with him. I just hope that's not true. I hope someone's able to persuade him because I want to see him with so many, especially after Survivor Series where they fucking, what do they call it when they like super power down somebody? Nerf? They like nerfed Walter.
Yeah.
During the Survivor Series, he came out. He like did like one chop to. There was somebody like a Roman or someone who didn't give him his chest, so it sounded weird and didn't work. And then they like power bombed him and he was out. And I was like, "What the fuck was that?" I was like,
Yeah, no, that's horrible.
"Yeah,
God.
he was gone in minutes." And I was like, "God!" Like I was so mad. I had to like take a walk. How do you do this to Walter?
Walter lost. Bye.
Yeah, I gotta
Where's
get some
your
air.
alcohol?
Yeah. I mean, so much so I even knew because you've been talking about him on the Indies for so long before he'd even gotten signed to NXT UK that when I was at Royal Rumble Access, he had made his debut, but he had only barely made his debut, and I heard his music go off. And at the time, we were sitting down because the producer was her feet were hurting. We'd been walking for hours and hours and hours because I'm in Wrestling Wonderland, and I was like, "Never let it end." And then, so she's like, well, I'm going to sit the fuck down. And I was like, okay. And so we go to sit down. I hear his music, and I was like, you can wait here. I got to go. And I, like, ran off. Like, and I watched Walter versus Cassius Ohno. And it was, yeah, and it was just, it was so awesome. And it was one of those things, too, where I was all like, I can't not watch this.
Yeah.
And especially because I was like, because Klump would kill me if he found out I just sat out a Walter match and it was literally 20 feet away behind
And
the
I'll
wall.
drive up to Phoenix to fight you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'll be like,
and
yeah,
it
I
was-
guess you wrestle. I wasn't paying attention. I'm on the way. You're going to watch him? No, I'm going to kick your ass.
Yeah, you
I
guys
think-
gotta let me go early. I gotta deal with something. What? I gotta go fuck someone up.
Family emergency. It's on, it was, I don't know where the network's at with stuff right now, but
A
it
lot
was
of things are-
the 2019 Worlds Collide. They do have it up there, so you can watch it. It's not lost to the ethers of the zeitgeist, as it were. It was on that Worlds. It was part of the first or second Worlds Collide they ever did. So I think it was the first. 'Cause I think the second they did was Mania that year. So
Boy, them some $5 words you just threw there.
yeah. So that'd be worth checking out. Anybody who hasn't seen it, definitely worth it. Maybe I'll convince Bischoff from Terrible Wrestling Takes to do a watch along with me, where you just watch that match and talk it over.
That is amazing because I love Chris Hero. I miss him. I wish that that's the one person that I think AEW failed. Because if you want some of these guys coaching, because I guess Cabana coaches in the back now, I didn't know that. But if you want someone coaching, that's the man that you need is Chris Hero. You know, and then
If I was
starting
I was starting a wrestling company and he was on the market, he'd be one of the first people I would say, well, why would we not have him? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, why not?
if I'm starting to build a roster and it starts with, well, here's everyone who's available, and I see his name, I'm like, okay, well, that's an easy yes, and then we can build from there. You know what I mean? Like, why would you not start with a Chris Hero or Cassius Ohno, whatever you want to call him? Let's see. Well, the next match we had was the NXT Women's Tag Team Championships. Ember Moon versus what? Ember Moon and Shotzi Blackheart versus Aaliyah and Martinez Mercedes. This was a little weird to me. The setup, the bribery, the
Robert
payment.
Stone. Yeah.
Robert Stone. And I think that part of it is I feel like these tag titles are so flat to me just because they showed up and were just handed over to the losers. Hey, you guys lost the match last week, so we've made you these belts. And then they lost them in an hour, and it's all like, God, you guys can't win anything. You know, you know what I mean?
Well, I feel like also whenever whenever Robert Stone comes on, I'm like, okay, cool, I'm done. I don't need to watch this. I'll just get the review of it later.
He's hard to give a shit about, for sure.
Yeah.
And anybody who's around him loses. He's like a heat sucker, you know? Any kind of excitement I had for Aaliyah or Mercedes Martinez, as soon as they're standing next to Robert Stone, I'm just like, for fuck's sake.
Mm-hmm.
So, I hear
He's
that.
like when you realize your fly's been down for a couple hours and you've been at work. That's how Robert Stone is. You're just like, you notice it because you just feel cold and sad and worried, and it's Robert Stone.
And everyone around you is worse for it. You know, everyone's punished. You know.
Oh, they were today when that happened to me.
Yeah.
Or they see it and they just don't want to say anything because they're like, you know what, he's not worth it.
Yeah.
I had a
Just
very
let
polite
him.
older woman tell me.
Just let him.
I
Very
hope it's
sweet.
the older woman. I think it is.
No. It was
Ah,
a customer.
damn.
Tapped me on the
Oh,
shoulder. Hey, just so
better.
you know. I was like, oh!
She gave you the old "How's your father?" and then you're all like, "That shouldn't have been so easy."
Just like a very blunt, polite, but not hiding it. Hey,
Yeah.
I can't see things, but let me just tell you, there's an opening. That's why. It's run.
She's all quick draw. Damn it. So now the match in and of itself wasn't a bad match. I just feel like it's a little weird the way the whole thing kind of came together, and I really think that they can make something out of those titles, and I hope that they do, but this felt like a segment that just kind of happened, and I feel like that's super unfortunate because everyone involved is I mean, I look at them and they're all believable world champions. Ember, Shotzi, Aaliyah, and Mercedes. I think Aaliyah's got a little bit more work to do than the others, but I think that she still, to me, is a believable enough character and wrestler that if she eventually held the world title, I wouldn't say, like, how did that happen? I'd be like, oh, I'm glad that, because I feel like she's got that level of potential. But every woman in that match has the potential to be a world champion, and to feel that way about it is a little bit of a bummer. But hopefully with time, more comes of it. Hopefully Robert Stone gets removed from it. Is there anything about that match you guys want to talk about, or do you guys want to talk about Devlin and Koshida?
No, I think Mercedes was put in to maybe she's coaching Aaliyah along. That's the only thing that for me, I was trying to save it from the disaster of Robert Stone. But I mean, that's how I took it as. Because I mean, who wouldn't, want to learn from her? She's
that's true.
amazing. So I don't know.
Do you think that Mercedes forgot that she's not in Retribution because she keeps wearing that mask?
Maybe.
You don't have to anymore. Why are you doing it still? We stopped.
Yeah. I got
This
a better
is your
mask.
out.
For what?
Like, I could just pick Dijakovic walk by, taps her. You don't have to wear this shit anymore.
He's
you
like,
escaped.
what? He's like, that was your idea? You told them you what?
Just cussing, but like it sounds, sounds like he's gonna jaw arch him. Stupid motherfucker.
Well,
Yeah.
People get really attached to some of their gear. I can name a lot of people who have there's certain things they're like, no, I need to have this, and if I don't, it's just not right. So if that's for her, then good on you, because I understand that. So.
Well, and also realistically, she was wearing a mask more like the one she's wearing now before she joined Retribution. Joined Retribution, had to change her mask to a different mask, and maybe she was like, this isn't the mask I chose.
Yeah.
I'm going back to my other mask. So,
yeah.
I don't know. But yeah, Jordan Devlin versus Koshida. I mean, on paper, it sounds amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And then they get in the ring, and it was pretty damn good. So,
Yeah. When is Kushida not good? I mean, honestly, like, you can't tell me, oh, what's a match that Kushida has been in that's kind of I can't think of it.
I was worried for a while about Koshida and NXT because you know,
Really.
like, man, don't you got something special here? Don't fuck this up. And I'm glad it's like kind of paying off now. Like, okay, you guys know who you got, because
Mhm.
you know, I think you get worried about, like, you know, I like this dude. Don't make me sad. Don't make me hate you.
100%. And then I think he even cut a good promo on the way into it, didn't he?
Yeah, in Japanese. Yes.
Was it in Japanese with subtitles? I thought he said it in English.
Japanese with subtitles.
Oh.
Which
Like,
I thought was
That's
great.
that's how
I'd
good I
like the-
read.
That's how much you drank. This was no, it's not.
I was
no.
drunk and I read so good. I was like, he definitely spoke in English to me.
That makes more sense now. Cool.
Oh.
But like,
Yeah.
I'm so this is something I am happy WWE is letting more and more talent cut promos in their native tongue and not like we're not. I don't know if it's a forcing. You see so much more impact when Asuka mixes English and Japanese, or Shinsuke.
Yeah.
That promo Shinsuke did when he went between English and Japanese talking about the Royal Rumble is fucking hard to listen to in a good way. It hurt. Like, oh, you want him to win. And it's weird when you force people to, and I'm sorry I keep saying force, but if somebody, there's a difference between being able to speak a language in a conversational capacity and being able to have that power and ability to speak it in a promo. You know, I speak Spanish, and to an extent, I am not delivering a promo in Spanish.
Yeah.
So let these people, they got famous talking, let them talk, and let them talk in their native tongue, and we'll make it work. Your subtitles will work, and if you can hear the power in his voice, which you could, damn, sounded scary. Small man.
And that was kind of the point of me and Kevlar talked about it on Wednesday, if you listen to the podcast, that Andrade was released and a lot of people were talking about how he was bad at promos, and then I saw a lot of uproar. People were saying it as though the fact that he didn't speak English well was why he was bad at promos, and said that's not the problem. Drop it. He's great at promos. He's just great at promos in Spanish. But I thought the conversation we had was that I didn't feel like he was bad at promos because he didn't speak English. I felt like he was bad at promos because he didn't connect to the audience anyways. Because I look at guys like Shinsuke, I look at NXT and I see Io and Koshida, and I see Asuka, how she did over there, how she's doing now. Santos Escobar, but he's pretty good at English. And I feel that they speak almost no English and connected to the fans anyways. You know what I mean? Kari Sane connected with the fans anyways. Like, I feel like a great promo will go above any of those limitations, and I feel like Kushida, and like you said, the fact that they're allowed to do it in their native tongue in NXT probably helps because they're able to emote and not focus on the words. That probably
They should
helps.
let it continue. They should let it continue.
Yeah,
they
As
should.
they move on the main roster. Because when you look at, this is another comparable person, but like Pentagon and Phoenix, because now when they cut their promos, it's in Spanish. Every once in a while, some English will be in there, but it's all in their native tongue, and there's someone who's translating. So I think that's, it's better for them, because sometimes you're like, what did you say? And I'm like, wow, because it's hard to understand sometimes, and then it seems like they're overthinking about, oh, okay, these are what the words are in English, and it kind of throws the rhythm off of it. So I think that's, I'd rather see that than not. Okay, yeah, I got to read. All right. Well, my problem is I'm not wearing my glasses. I'm watching it I watched it yesterday. Did I watch it on Peacock? No, because they didn't load it. But I watched it on the computer, and I took my glasses off, and I was like, huh? Oh, I have to read. Okay. All right. Yeah.
Well, and you mentioned Pentagon and Ray Phoenix, and I keep going back to when Pentagon was in I first saw him in Lucha Underground, they subbed his promos, but they also just let him talk, and they didn't they leave no subs at all, and kind of like you figure it out yourself, and it still left impact. And I feel bad because I don't see him in that same way anymore. I don't know what the changes, and I kind of wonder I feel like maybe in AEW we've seen him with more mouthpieces than he needs, because he doesn't need one. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no. But I think with Lucha Underground, that was something in itself that was very unique and special. And so I think that's why they didn't do it, because it would almost be like a slap in the Mexican American community, in that community down where, like, because that's East LA, where they were, where the thing was supposed to be. And I think that, you know, that's why they kind of did it, and it kept it pure, and it was like, oh, this is great. But I mean, at the same time, it's like, well, you know, this is a totally different audience than AEW. So because it was very it had a very cult following. Like, a lot of people, you either knew it or you didn't know it, and then once you did know it and you watched it a couple times, you're like, whoa, this is like kind of cool, you know, because it was done so differently. So I think that's where now you see Pentagon, you're like, oh, I miss this other thing. It's like, yeah, because that's what we were like. That's our, you know, for me, that was my first time really seeing him, was via Lucha Underground. So I'm like, yeah. But to me, he's still the same, you know, whatever. He's got his little flair, takes his little glove off, how he does, you know, usually, and whatnot. And it's the same thing. It's still the same. But now at least he's more comfortable because he speaks in his native tongue. And for us people who did not take Spanish in high school, that, you know, it's like, okay, thank you.
Yeah. But I did think that the promo that Koshida cut leading in was awesome and intense. And you had Devlin. Let's see. Oh, there was a weird spot in here with the ref where the two guys from Phantasma yank Devlin. They give him the old yank out. They yank him out of the ring. They yank him. And then the ref turns back around and is all like, oh, the ref didn't see it. And I was like, yes, but it is a peculiar situation, is it not? That suddenly Devlin is between all of them and they're right next to the ring and he's further away from it now. I'm like, the ref should still have been involved in some way. Like, at least like, hey, guys, get out of here. You know what I mean? Like, the ref turned around and said, everything looks normal to me. Yeah. Yeah. But at the end of this match, you had Devlin and you had Santos Escobar going eye to eye, nose to nose, belt to belt, belt loop on belt loop, and fingertip to fingertip. These guys tip to tip, and then
Docking
that's when you hear it.
Yeah.
I mean, come cute. What? Scared of you, wow. I really move. Little HBK comes on out. I thought it was good that he didn't go into the ring, but for a moment I thought, can he not physically get into the ring? It's his knees that bad? Like, I thought that for a minute, because I was like, why wouldn't he go in there and grab a mic? But I liked that he stood there. He looked at the dudes as they've whipped out their straps and they're holding them out. They're just dangling them in the breeze at each other, matching. And he goes, oh, I've seen this before. You should see what me and my buddy did 30 years ago before you were born. And he pulls out a ladder and he throws it in the ring. And he says nothing. He just leaves. And then they're standing there in front of a ladder, and everyone goes, what are they supposed to do with a ladder? No one has ever, and what would you ever do with a ladder?
Yeah.
Right? More or less. But I think it's a really cool callback if they're saying, like, hey, you have two champs. I mean, why not make the callback to WrestleMania, what was it, 10? With Razor and Shawn, you know, the two champions that you thought couldn't. I think even Cena and Punk, when they finally did their nose-to-nose, tip to tip, wasn't that also a ladder match?
Money in the Bank, that one?
No. Well, no. That wasn't. I guess you're right.
When
I
he
guess that
took-
was the match to. Yeah, but that wasn't a
Yeah,
ladder match. So
Yeah, no.
yeah. Yeah. So you're right. It wasn't that one, but it was the Shawn and Razor one. Bruce had something she wanted to say real quick.
Oh, I did recently see a Stephanie McMahon interview on LinkedIn. I forget which company she was talking with, but she was basically saying in the interview when someone asked, what did you guys learn from the pandemic? How have you overcome? She said, really what they've learned is just how people are really tied to nostalgia and their legends, but specifically just like how it made them feel when they were watching way back when. So I don't know, it really made me think of this because I was like, oh, that makes sense why they're not just fully putting forward their legends in everything, which is great. But putting them in these little bits and pieces here and there is just enough to get those casual viewers to be like, oh man, I remember when I watched him when I was a kid or whatever.
Yeah, and just enough to get those hardcore viewers to feel just a little bit different about this. You know what I mean? Now it seems exciting. Now it seems bigger because before it was just going to be a good match. Now it's a good match that HBK endorses. You know what I mean? Like there's something cool about that. Amanda, what'd you think of all this?
Well, at first I was like, what the hell's HBK doing out here? And then I was very confused. And then I'm like, oh, okay. I'm like, But I don't know. I mean, is it, does this warrant a ladder match?
I think so.
I don't know.
When you have two champions who have credence to why they're the true champion and the other one's not. Like, I mean, Devlin never lost the title. He was unable to travel due to the pandemic. Well, Santos won a round robin tournament with every single person except for Devlin. So why wouldn't he be the champion? And he's defended it against numerous people. Of course he's the champion. But like I said, Devlin never lost it. So they both have a claim to the throne. I think a ladder match is the perfect example for when you would use that. It's not exactly
Are they getting
custody.
Are they
contract.
getting rid of? But are they getting rid of one of the belts? No.
Yes.
Yeah, they are.
Yes, of course they are. You have to
Okay,
have one cruiserweight champion. They didn't
burn
slap
the
a
other one
UK
right in
logo
front
on
of
one of them. Go ahead, Klump. What was that?
They melt it in front of the former owner. This is your belt, no more.
Dude,
And then
do
they
the old
pour
Brody
the
Lee homage and just pour a bunch of shards of the old belt on the other guy. Call back to Brody Lee.
Or Game of Thrones season 1.
Oh, that's true. That's also true.
Yeah, I'm cool with that.
Yeah, I liked it. It was a fun spot. Every time I hear Sean's music, though, I always go, man, his music. I used to feel like it was awesome, and now I'm all like,
Yeah, now
I don't
it's
know
like,
about
no.
this. Yeah.
Is it because
He's-
he's getting up there in age, and you're just like, no?
Maybe.
That's how I feel. I'm like, he's what, 60? Oh God!
Yeah, come on. Man.
It's like you're like the heartbreak geriatric dude.
Yeah, you're still going Heartbreak Kid and
The heart
Yeah.
bypass kid.
yeah, yeah. I saw someone. So you see, they came out with a new figure of Shawn Michaels, and it's the bald Shawn Michaels from Crown Jewel.
Oh god damn it.
Yeah, they made it, and it looks like halfway like Adam Pearce. I saw someone took the background of it, the card, and they like made one of the eyes point inward. So fucked up.
No. That's so mean.
So fucked up.
He did
Dude.
nothing. He tried to entertain us,
Yeah,
and yeah, this is how we pay him back.
I know. We're assholes, man. I
Yeah.
apologize. I apologize. It made me
I
laugh. and
apologize. I
went,
had nothing to do with it, but I apologize all the same.
Yeah, I apologize. But I was all like, I wish I had thought of that. So fucked up. No one even understood the one I made when they came with the Lars Sullivan toy and I put a choking hazard thing on it. No one even caught it.
No, everyone's just rolling their eyes, scrolling past you.
Whatever. Well, the last segment of the night had a few things happening throughout the night. It was the Adam Cole, Kyle O'Reilly. Yo, when Adam Cole goes to Kyle O'Reilly in his gym, which was like an MMA gym where Kyle O'Reilly had just been training to fight, and Adam Cole's like, I'm going to march in there like a tough guy. As they're like dragging him out, I swear to God, he probably said something else, but it sounded like he said, if you unfriend me, I will end you.
I thought he said that too.
Right?
Yeah, I'm like, what kind of pussy shit is this, Adam Cole? What the hell? Shit. Like, no, what are you doing?
Yeah, I was like, did you just say unfriend me?
Yeah, it sounded like unfriend me. I think he said threaten me. I think.
It sounded like unfriend me. I'm going to go with it's unfriend me. And
it sounded like unfriend me to me.
Was he talking like Friendster?
Don't you unfriend me, I swear to God, if you don't follow me back, Kyle.
They did that for Peacock.
Yeah.
Yeah, Peacock's like, oh, I think he's saying a bad word. Can you not do that? Thank you.
You don't unfriend me, not follow my stream, and millennials, and
subscribe to my channel. I swear to God, Kyle, if you don't subscribe to my channel, I will end you. Just weird internet.
I would love Kyle O'Reilly, like, in the same thing, just you hear him kind of say, shut up, you five-head having motherfucker. Like,
yeah, that would be good, actually.
Kyle, you're like, I want somebody to make fun, like, your hairline's just, I wanted Adam Cole, like, John Cena feud so John Cena can roast him. I just want somebody
Can you
to roast his
imagine,
hairline.
like, they just get weirdly personal with him, and he's, like, yelling, and then they say something like that, and he just goes, whoa, the fuck, man? He just gets, like, weirdly sad and quiet.
Yeah.
What?
He's a shitty dentist.
Well, man, too far. Walks away. Oh, no.
Yeah. Oh, man. He just gets real sad. He goes, I don't even want to talk. I don't want to play anymore. So we did have that whole segment. I thought the double leg takedown that Kyle did to Adam Cole was dope. Great snap to it. And then you had this contract signing. You had the contract signing at the end. You had Adam Cole, who was supposed to sign the contract, and then he goes all like, you know, here's the thing.
You didn't sound like that.
I want to tell you a story.
I don't even know who you're trying to imitate.
Well, that's Adam Cole saying he's going to tell a long promo now.
That's not what it sounded like.
Here's the thing, Regal. You know what I mean?
Just turned into Billy Joel.
I'm moving out of the undisputed era. Boo-doo-doo. Moving out. Boo-doo-doo-doo. Of the era. Boo-boo-boo-doo-boop. Now, Klump, actually, don't you like the Undisputed Era and Adam Cole? Aren't you a fan of them for the most part?
I like Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish. Adam Cole, like, I like how shitty his theme in NJPW and Ring of Honor was. Because it just immediately it created such a viscerally upset reaction. Yeah.
Yeah,
like,
I remember you sent
it
to me.
And I was like, okay, I dig this.
Yeah, you played it for me, and you're like, hey, did you ever hear his music back then? I was like, no. And you put it on, and we almost had a fist fight. I was like, I don't care if you kill me. Amanda, what'd you think of all this? Go ahead. No, hold on. Finish it.
There have been times I've wanted to just, in a certain work environment we have that's kind of an enclosed, quiet room, it can get tense in there. Nothing would break up that tension quite like Adam Cole's music. But no. They don't have it released on a streaming app.
Oh, good.
Really?
Amanda, what do you think of all this? To me, I understand how people say Adam Cole is so good. None of what he says connects on a level to me that makes me feel the same, but I see it. He's good. He's clear on the mic. He's saying what he's going to say. He emotes very well. He doesn't mess up with it. He's not stuttering. He sounds very realistic and very impassioned. So I understand all of that. But it's kind of like when like when you have like a younger sister and she's yelling at you and you're like, I'm 15 years older than you. What do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. That's how it comes off to me with that level. But I could be way off. And to be honest with you, I probably am way off because most people talk about him being the greatest of all time and can't wait for him to main event WrestleMania against John Cena and Brock Lesnar. Amanda, what do you think of this?
Oh, are they doing a thing with a Make-A-Wish kid? No, that's Adam Cole. Huh.
Right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
it'd be
I
like Drake and Walter. Go ahead, Amanda. What'd you think?
yeah, no. I like with Adam Cole, like he's I'll say the word enjoyable at times. But he's not I would not say he's the greatest and oh my god, I want to see him wrestle Cena. No, I wouldn't say that. There's other people I'd probably say, but he's not one of them. But I think that for what this is, the purpose it is serving, it's good for him, and it makes him look, I think, better than if you have the naysayers that are like, I don't get this dude, but now because he's so passionate about it, and these are people that he's worked with for quite a long time, that I think that you kind of, he has to give him everyone the best that he's got with it, because that's if he can't make it believable with people that he's pretty much had most of his career with, then I don't know what to tell you. So, but I do think of the two of them, O'Reilly's definitely the better of the wrestlers, the two of them. But I think with Adam Cole, if you're looking for someone that's that package, it's Adam Cole, and because he can talk and all this other stuff. But I mean, at this point now, I'm kind of like, well, okay, so you get beaten. What's going to happen? Are you moving away? Are you going up to the main roster? What are you doing? So that's where I'm questioning what's going to be the end of all this. Like, is he moving up? Is he going to be, 6-year, high school guy? I don't know. That's where I'm like puzzled.
Yeah. Here's the other weird thing too, is that they had that moment. They had that other moment where where Shawn Michaels and Adam Cole were staring to like eye to eye.
Yeah.
But even old Shawn Michaels looked so much bigger than Adam Cole. It's like,
yeah,
it's when I hear guys like Shawn Michaels say things all like, "Oh, Adam Cole is a little undersized," but he used to tell me the same thing, or how Jericho was saying on his podcast. I mean, take it for whatever it's worth. He was like, "Oh, I told Marco Stunt about how they used to say the same thing about me. I was too small for the business, and look at me." And you're like, you're saying this to people half your size. If they thought you were small, now you're telling somebody absolutely miniature that they can do the same thing that an incredibly, like a much larger person did against even more giants. Like, it's just weird.
Yeah.
I was telling Marco Stunt, you're undersized and everything, and then I realized I was just talking to a fucking 7-year-old.
Yeah. Oh, wait, you're not Marco Stunt?
Oh, shit!
Sorry, kid. I don't know who you are. Yeah, sorry. Here's a hot dog and a handshake.
Yeah.
There you
And that's why he's not allowed in your schools anymore.
Yeah. But
Dog and a handshake.
Yeah, it's just one of those things. I'm looking for something to show size here, because
do you think? And I mean, and I get it. I think a lot of people are like tired of that conversation of like they're not big or the size thing. Because I mean, even you can always point to Daniel Bryan, right? People are like, "Oh, Daniel Bryan's the example of a small guy, and so is Rey Mysterio." But literally, when Adam Cole was in the match with Daniel Bryan looked like Brock Lesnar. He was so much bigger than Adam Cole. I'm not saying that like they can't pull it off or do it, but I do think that the fact that Adam Cole was like beating the shit out of Keith Lee was really weird.
Yeah.
It did not connect with me very well. So much so that people don't talk about it. They try to pretend like it didn't happen, but they're trying to pretend like it did at the same time. They're like, "Oh yeah, Keith Lee had this great win against who?" It don't matter. And then like they talk about the greatest Adam Cole matches and stuff, and they're always all like, "Oh, remember him against other small guys like Gargano?" And you're like, "Yeah." But I don't know. To me, the level of excitement's not there. Klump, do you think Adam Cole goes to the main roster?
I think we're getting to where it has to be the goal of this, is to bring him to the main roster. I don't know if I would do that quite yet myself, because it doesn't seem like they there's a lot of talent on the main roster that isn't getting great movements back and forth. And something about Adam Cole, I could just see, like, if he gets put to the main roster, all of the frustrations and like shit talking people have about Vince McMahon coming to fruition. Like, oh yeah, no, he is 200. He's too small. We're not seeing him do anything.
Yeah, if it's true, if there really is a size bias, I mean, think about it this way: where do you want Adam Cole to go? Where's he going to fit? Like, if he goes to SmackDown, is he going to go up against Big E or Roman Reigns for the titles? You know what I mean? If you go to Raw, you have Matt Riddle, or just Riddle, whatever, the Riddler, with the U.S. title, and fucking Bobby Lashley and Drew McIntyre about to go back and forth. Where does Adam Cole fit in with those guys? Not only do those guys all look big and jacked, Adam Cole doesn't look small and jacked. He just looks small and soft.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, when you look at Daniel Bryan and you go, yeah, but that dude's like, looks like a fighter. He's in shape.
Like he looks like he shops at Hollister.
Yeah.
Probably does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just think that if he goes to the main roster, it's going to be quite an uphill battle and to figure out where he even belongs with that. I think you end up he has to be in a tag, and he has to stay in a tag. I don't think that you have Roman Reigns versus Adam Cole in any kind of a match that people are going to buy into. They just don't.
Adam, I have a fantastic idea for you. We're going to build a whole new division around you. It's going to be based on people around your size. And then 205 Live is reborn.
No, it'd be the 105 Live.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just what I. So I also get it. And I think that he's found a good spot in there because we've talked about it before. Does NXT fail the main roster of building main event stars? And the biggest thing we said is, well, they don't build stars who wrestle like main event superstars, and they don't build stars typically that look like main event superstars. They build main eventers for their niche audience, which 100%, even as a fan, I think NXT is a niche show. I don't think any general wrestling fan would like NXT.
Nope.
It's more the hardcore and the indie fans, and I think that the hardcore and the indie fans are the ones who want to see smaller guys do more and more crazy things. You know? Where I do think that the average fan, the average casual viewer, does want to tune in and see Batista and John Cena side by side. They want to see Drew McIntyre and Bobby Lashley smacking each other till they're welted. You know what I mean? Like, people want to see big, giant dudes battle. They just do.
Yeah.
I mean, I've talked to enough people at different jobs I've had about wrestling, and that's the stuff they always say. Oh, these giant guys were so cool to see slap around. You know what I mean? No one... Every time I talk about it, even with casual viewers, they always want to talk about the big dudes. They'll talk about Braun Strowman. They'll talk about, if they want to talk about the past, they're going to talk about The Rock. They're going to talk about Cena. They're going to talk about, so I've heard them talk about Vader. They don't ever bring up Juventud Guerrera. You know what I mean? They don't bring up Rey Mysterio very often.
You want to think of it like UFC.
Yeah. They think of it as like UFC with the prize fights. But like, I just think that I agree with you. It really looks like they're trying to usher Cole onto this next chapter, and I just think that as much as I'm not a Adam Cole fan in general, I mean, I've never been quiet about that on the show. I do respect the guy, and I want him to be able to make a living doing what he does best. And I just also think that NXT is probably the cap of that. Like, I don't see a moving forward with it.
Well, if it doesn't work out with him in WWE, we know where he can go. They'll take him with open arms because his old lady's there. But
I thought you were going to say you could be a dental assistant.
oh no, I would
Please,
not. No,
please.
I think she's taller than him. But but anyways, no. Like I was trying to look in my phone because I was thinking, because whenever I think of Adam Cole, and you know, because he's so small, I always picture in my head from BTE seeing him and Marty Skrull next to each other, because Marty's another shorty.
Yeah.
And I think they're the same height, but Marty looks buff compared to Adam Cole. Adam Cole looks like, you know, I'm like fasting because, you know, like that guy that stormed the White House, that guy that he only ate organic food, the fucking Buffalo dude, that skinny ass body.
Proud Arizona resident.
Yeah.
Sorry.
U of A.
But that-
U of
that's
A.
what-
No,
Yeah, but-
no, he didn't go to my alma mater.
Yeah.
but that's that's what I think of, because he's a small guy and it's not very believable. So it always, like with me, I go back and I think, okay, he wasn't good, and I don't think he ever was in a Best of Super Juniors. I don't think he was. So I don't, obviously it's like, if you're not with some of these people that are supposed to be around your weight, I mean, some of them will make him look like a shrimp. I mean, no, Osprey's fat now, but
Well, I mean, Osprey's got pretty jacked too. Like, but I don't know.
fat.
I just,
not fat. It's not because I don't.
I just
like
don't
him.
know. I don't know what he would do if he on the main roster. I don't know
No.
where he fits in. And to be honest, I know that we had Splinter Fox in here one week, and he was giving a list of everyone he thought would be a great match against Adam Cole, and I disagreed with almost all of them. There was like 2 of them where I thought, okay, that could be a good match, but most of them I was all like, no, I don't see that at all. Like,
Yeah, I can't.
stuff just
think-
starts to look weird at a certain weight difference.
Ye-
You know?
Yeah, I don't. I mean, honestly, like, I can't think of anybody that's on the NXT roster that, okay. I mean, the only person I could say is, well, yeah, he can face LA Knight, but LA Knight's the one that's putting in the work on that. And Adam Cole would be writing coattails. So,
Yeah, and I honestly
Yeah.
feel that I feel like for main roster status, I feel like Bronson Reed and LA Knight, Carrion Cross, even Ciampa, even Thatcher, I feel like all of them would be way believable in the main roster because they're also, if not big with their loud styles, the smaller guys like Ciampa and Thatcher are ground specialists like a Daniel Bryan.
Mhm.
And that's what made Daniel Bryan versus Batista make sense. That's what made Rey Mysterio versus Batista make sense. But Rey Mysterio was super fast and agile and flipping everywhere, and Batista couldn't keep him down, right? Where with Daniel Bryan, he was tying him up in knots. Adam Cole is another power hitter. He does a bunch of kicks and dives. Like, it's like, what? He doesn't do mat wrestling. So it's also like, I don't see how his style works. Maybe that's really what it comes down to is
he
was
doesn't
more-
have a very complex repertoire. He does not.
Yeah.
He doesn't. I mean, very
He
few
doesn't come off as
people-
ring smart. He comes off as a survivor and a general winner.
Yeah.
Which I think is a big difference.
Absolutely.
That's my thing. Klump, did I miss anything here?
No, I mean, I could shit on Adam Cole for another couple hours, but I think
I mean, I was trying to think of like semi. It's not all shitting on him, was it? Yeah.
Well,
he's got a decent pair of shoulders.
he's got nice hair.
No, he doesn't. It's disappearing
Pretty
right
He's
nice.
trying to.
His hair doesn't like him. It's running away from the rest of them.
Okay, I don't know. He used to have nice hair, but I don't know. I will.
It's not. That's all not to knock him so much as saying he's in his spot in NXT that makes sense because of who he's surrounded by. I think that you put him in a new pond of people that he's not going to shine the same way. Like I said, I know that he's not for me, but I also understand what people see in him. I don't understand how what they see in him will fit with a different roster. It works with this roster, and it works perfectly with this roster. And I think that's what I'm trying to say in my my
because
breakdown of everything else.
the only other home would be 205 Live.
Yeah.
But isn't that like a death sentence?
Do
If you're
they
going
even
there?
do it anymore?
I don't know.
if they'll do it.
Because like Gulak, you can wrestle Gulak, and that's whatever.
I know the
But
cruiserweights
we've
became
seen
part of
that
NXT like twice. Every time they move him out of NXT, they always go back to NXT. But
Yeah.
Klump, anything else you wanted to add?
I'm okay.
Amanda, was there anything else you wanted to add?
I loved that little Cameron Grimes little bit that he did with Roddy. That was kind of anything Cameron Grimes does
True.
is money. And I thought that was
That's true.
great. Trying to buy his way
Yeah,
into
Cameron
that.
Grimes was doing good.
Yeah, he's great. I mean, I'm really excited to see that the match to those 12 competitors, because I mean, honestly, that's a very, very stacked lineup of people.
Yeah.
It's very impressive, I think. And I mean, the possibilities of who could be in that that next round before getting that title shot. I think that's going to be huge next week.
Yeah.
I mean, I have some people in my heart that I want it to be, but are they going to be? I don't know.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. We're going to see how it plays out. I do have to say, because I gave AEW a hard time for it, so I have to give it to NXT too. Eliminator to me is a stupid childlike name for a roster or a bracket. Eliminator tournament sounds so stupid to me. It sounds like,
yeah,
it sounds childish.
we're trying to find something.
Eliminator distract bracket, and you're like, no, it's just a fucking tournament. What?
Yeah.
Why is it gotta be Eliminator?
Well, maybe they're
Just
making
because it's
fun
not.
of Tony Khan.
That'd be funny. That'd be so
I
funny
mean-
if they did it because of Tony. The only other
I'm
thing
sure-
that came up at all, and I don't know if there's anything you guys want to say on it so much, is that Peacock has been going through and removing content. They're
Yeah.
loading stuff up, and then they're finding that they're removing things that are offensive, which I
Though,
completely understand. Go ahead, Klump. Go ahead. You take it.
I was gonna throw out like the two things that have gotten the most kind of. I'm sure it's gonna happen more and more. The two things they threw out right away, or the couple things they thrown out, were moments that didn't really serve a purpose and were even in the time kind of like ugh. It was the Roddy Piper promo against Bad News Brown, where he was half black and half blackface. That one got thrown out, and then Mr. McMahon saying the N-word to Booker T. And it added nothing to the segment but it was a cheap comedy moment. And it really didn't add anything at all. Like, there was nothing there. It was just a weird, like, oh my god, he said that, laugh, and it just ages kind of poorly. So yeah, I get why those got tossed, and I'm sure we're gonna see more. It's gonna happen in every type of media. It's just there's things that we have to acknowledge. This has not aged well. We maybe don't need to throw this out anymore, and or have this out anymore too much.
I get that, and I agree with it. I think the counter argument, not that I'm defending it, but I'm just trying to have that dialogue. If something isn't aged well, how do you learn from history if you erase it? And is it worth holding on to stuff just to learn from it? Because someone could always misinterpret it as a positive thing. They wouldn't put it here if it wasn't good, right? But at the same time, how do you acknowledge something as being terrible, but also completely remove it from history like it never happened? Can you have both? You know what I mean? Like, it was obviously awful, but it was something you could point to and say, look at this, look at how bad this is, and let me tell you why how bad this is if you don't get it. And now it's like, well, just trust me, it happened. It's just,
I can get that, and I actually can get that argument that it's if something's really bad, then we see it and can learn from it. I feel like in the case of these, in that they served no benefit. I think that was I don't mean benefit as like they served nothing to a storyline going. You know what I mean? Like they were moments in a weird spot that didn't really carry on. And I think that's why I'm not sure yet, but I'd like to see if the DX, the rather infamous promo DX did, where they were, if that's there. And it was a quick spot, but it was part of an overall big feud going. So maybe, it's something to learn from, and it's been acknowledged that it was in rather poor taste. I do agree with you. It's an argument of, if we remove this, we don't know about it and we don't learn better from it. And erasing history is a benefit of the privileged or the winners. It's dictated by that. So if we're erasing these things that are offensive to others without acknowledging their presence, are we just, are we really showing that we've learned anything, or are we just sweeping it under the rug to not be acknowledged?
Right. So that's, there's like both those sides to it. Like I said, I think I agree with the idea that it should probably go, but at the same time, I think about it, where's the line? Like, if you blur the line of what we get rid of versus what we keep, where do you find the line of this is worth learning from versus this has to disappear forever? And like you said, it might even come off like you're just sweeping it under the rug. You know what I mean? And does it become part of an overall WWE archive somewhere? Well, in the meantime, NBC says, well, we're only housing the stuff that we want to house. Then do we start getting different shows? Does the network come back in a different way? I don't know. Did you produce something you want to say real quick?
Oh yeah, I would say that I think a lot of the younger folks, I feel like they romanticize the Attitude Era. They romanticize all these legends, but they fail to recognize, all the like stereotypical things that you saw on a daily basis and all the really horrible crap. But at the same time, yeah, I get your point of wanting to learn from it. I don't know how to go about that other than what I've seen on just regular like public TV or public shows where they'll play old movies, but then in the front they have like a kind of warning of saying like, hey, this was acceptable at this time, but realize that there's offensive material and what's to come. So I guess that's the only thing I see going in that route.
I agree with that. I think that in terms of the best way to approach it, what producer throughout, that seems to be the one that I most align with. We're not removing it from history, but we're doing our best to acknowledge that things have really changed, and you're about to see, like, it's like that when you get that day in history class where they're going to talk about something that's pretty rough. We're going to talk about this happened, and that's important because we can't whitewash it or remove it. There's a reason. There's a lot of connotations to that term whitewashing, and it's messed up. It's so I kind of want to see more how this goes with storylines that are offensive versus small isolated little events. I think it might also be more of a benefit for the sake of trying to show how we've acknowledged and improved this, to rather than skip over, like say in place of this segment. And I've seen it occasionally where Saturday Night Live did it with Martin Lawrence a few years ago, or a long time ago, had an opening monologue that was rather fucked up. Like, it was just really kind of misogynist and messed up. And the opening, if you watch that episode now, is they show the beginning of it, and then they cut to a black screen with, this is what he said. We don't align with this. We don't acknowledge it. And they basically wrote out why. We're removing this because it felt, for standards and practices, we can't have this. Maybe have a black screen set in place of this. There is a point where the character of Mr. McMahon stated this to an African American performer. This is a moment in time that we wish to move past, but it did occur.
Yeah. And it's also true that with certain fandoms and age groups, that they really romanticize the Attitude Era and talk about how if we could only get back to the Attitude Era, you also don't want to go through and erase so much of it that they look like they're right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You want to make sure you keep enough of that stuff to say, no, this stuff ages poorly because it's not all good. Mm-hmm. Amanda, was something you want to throw in?
Well, yeah. I mean, for me personally, I kind of am. There's some things, you need to get rid of, but at the same time, I kind of feel like, okay, a lot of it is these people who are big cancel culture, gotta cancel this person because they did this. Oh, I gotta do this and this. But a lot of them are the ones that are whining about, why are you censoring this? And I'm like, whoa. Okay. I have a huge problem with that, because I'm like, well, there's some things obviously that no, it should not be there. If they're bleeping out, the N-word or phrase, that's fine. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. I don't find anything wrong of it. Now, if they were doing something like, I don't know, like they had like a segment where they were coming out like Klansmen, yeah, you might want to get rid of that because, that's a little problematic. But, you have to keep it around. Where you keep it, I don't know. It'd probably get locked in, up in Connecticut. But honestly, like, unless people are going in, like right now, I think people are going in to find things because it's just another thing to bitch about. And I mean, I get it. We should get rid of some of the, mute them out, those words. But if it was something that was really questionable, then, I would either say, like, you get rid of the part of it. And if there is, like what Klump said, put a little thing, well, yeah, this was what was here, but because of blah, blah, blah. Yeah, and that's fine. And I don't have a problem with that, at all. The real one, I hope, didn't get chopped and it's archived somewhere else so people can learn from. So, I mean, that's my feeling on it. And I also feel that with everyone's like, oh, I want the Attitude Era back. Well, unfortunately, with cancel culture, you cannot have the Attitude Era back. Sorry, doesn't work.
But I do agree with the idea of, and I've gotten so kind of frustrated of late with the way that we utilize the idea of this big bad word of cancel culture. It's become like the term politically correct or incorrect, and the term, I feel like, is more, it's been made into this negative versus the impact of it. I think we can't have a modern Attitude Era because a lot of the stuff, I agree with Mark, it doesn't age well. And if what I think we want out of the Attitude Era, or what I would like out of it, because there's parts I miss, is there was some creative storytelling. I could give a fuck about bra and panties matches. I want large overfilled stadiums of people and signs. I want, a bit more edge, but you can do edge without, you can have a more adult material that doesn't have to be that offensive, because there's parts of it. It's not that it's like, it's crude for the sake of crudeness, not for the sake of plot or benefit.
Yeah.
At times.
Gratuities.
Yeah, and I feel like a lot of times when we throw out, like, outside of wrestling, this is getting removed or that is getting removed, does it really benefit you to have it there? Right. And yes, we need to know the history of it. I think that is a key point, but when it comes to, like, talking about this being a negative, like, that's fucked up. A lot of times I put it through the lens of, there's a quote I like from James Baldwin, the writer, and it's and fuck, I can't remember, but like paraphrasing it, it's essentially that in a lot of cases, why do people hold so much to hate? And it's that pain comes out of it. And I know that maybe sound extreme in this case because it's fucking wrestling, but it seems like in a lot of cases when we try and we talk about, like, yeah, that kind of upset me, or that hurt that hurt thinking about it, or it felt weird, there's a weird defense of all of it, and it's like, no, we can separate these out and get rid of these moments because we don't have to accept the whole of it. We can say, Rock, Austin, Angle, Jericho, then awesome, ECW, Taz, fantastic, RVD, great, Raven, loved it. I don't need, XYZ. I don't need this, to be a part of it. I can enjoy Tommy Dreamer and the Sandman in some parts, but I don't necessarily need how ECW treated some of their female talent.
Yeah. 100%. Like I said, I totally understand why they'd be removing it, and I'm not against it, or I don't even think that they shouldn't be doing that. I just thought it was an interesting dialogue to have of what does it implicate and how far does it go? And like you were saying too, I've heard someone say before that instead of cancel culture, can we talk about it being accountability culture? Accountability.
Yes. Yeah.
And I get that too, and I'm on board with that. The problem is that what you end up seeing, and I won't necessarily say the problem is, but the reason I think you still hear people say cancel culture, not accountability culture, is because the big waves you see typically are not seeking accountability. They're more of a witch hunt, quite honestly. And to me, the witch hunts are the ones I think of as cancel culture, where
Sorry.
in this specific moment, like, imagine NBC goes through and removes all this stuff, and then people find up and try to dig up this stuff about Roddy Piper and say remove him to the Hall of Fame. Is that him being accountable, or is that trying to air out dirty laundry and just trying to get rid of somebody for some reason? Did they think better of it? You know what I mean? Like, if there's showing of remorse and change and growth, isn't that the accountability you want? I mean, punishment in some terms, yes, but is by digging up something old from Roddy Piper and trying to get him removed from Hall of Fame looking for accountability, or is it looking just to like I said, kick up dust and cancel someone to make you feel better about your stance? You know what I mean? And I think that's where I think there is a difference. I think there is accountability culture, and like speaking out, and 100%, I'm on board with that. That needs to happen. You have to flush out people, make them accountable. But I also think that there's a wave of, can we find something that somebody did 30 years ago that was offensive that they learned from and act like they never did learn from it?
Yes. One, to it, there's moments like I get it with an unfortunate example in wrestling, and is Hulk Hogan. Mm-hmm. The reason I think, to me, my view, the reason that there's so much controversy and upsetness still around Hulk Hogan and things, it's not that we keep dredging up the shit he did. It's that his response to it wasn't, I fucked up, I'm sorry. His response that got public and that got more attention was, hey, watch where you say things, people listen. And that's a whole different can of worms. Mm-hmm. That isn't being accountable. And, that's where, to me personally, where I look toward account is it, man, I fucked up, this is terrible and I want to learn from it? Or is this an excuse, or, and backpedaling and, damn, I'm sorry you got caught. Are you upset you got caught, or are you upset you said it?
Right. And I think that that's also a perfect example too, because I agree with you that that's where the outrage should lie. The quotes people should be putting out there is, this is what he said in response to, but that's not what we see. If people were saying this is how he responded to it, that's accountability, but they don't. They say this is what he said in that sex tape. This is what he said in the illegally filmed leaked footage that was horrible and horrendous. They never say what he said after that, because their concern isn't that he said something shitty again later, which to me, I agree with you. That's the accountability, and that's the news, is how did he respond to that?
Follow up than what happened.
Exactly. The follow-up's the problem.
Yeah.
But when you look at the online wave, no one talks about the follow-up. They pretend like he didn't ever say another word about it. And that to me is the problem. You're trying to dredge up something and have somebody buried for that thing, and you're not talking about what happened after the fact. And the after the fact is the big stuff to me. Is there remorse? Is there accountability? In this case, the answer would be no, which is why the outrage would continue. But that should be the conversation. Should be, like you said, the outrage is the after remarks, not the original remarks. The original remarks are horrible, yes. But the response afterwards, that's when you start to find out who somebody is. Are they looking to change, or are they defending their stance,
No one should be judged on their worst day. However, the judgment comes to how you respond to it. That's where you lie, where judgment lies is, okay, you had a shit day. What do we do now?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Lunar's coming through. Cheers to Lunar coming through. He was with us on our watch along for Fastlane. It was a really good time. I ate wings in front of him, and he went to Famous Dave's. His biggest complaint about Fastlane was Goldberg was not there. You can check it out on all of our video platforms. But he's coming through, and he's saying that it reminds him of the meme of Hogan spray painting the NWO, which is also true. That whole meme that everyone shows is in reference to the original thing, not in reference to his response. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And that's what I mean. Yeah. So to me, that would be the difference. Accountability culture, this is how he responded. Cancel culture is, this is the first thing he said the first time. And you're like, well, can we give someone the chance to grow, or is that not the option? And I'm not saying Hogan has. In this example, he has not. But I'm also saying he's the poster boy of the difference, because you can easily attack him on both. You know what I mean? If the attack's what you're going for, you can easily demand accountability because of his response. And that's not even the stance we're taking. I think, to me, that's where I get frustrated, saying that sounds like cancel culture when it should be accountability culture.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah, that totally makes sense. I wish people thought about that when it comes to other things, but that's all I'm gonna say. That.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. 100%. Amanda, was there something else you want to say on there? I know I went on a little bit of a diatribe.
No. I mean, for everyone shitting on Peacock, okay, Peacock has been very nice, and it's actually laid out very well. I must say, I was a little scared, but Peacock, I will tell people, Peacock's search engine was always shitty. So I actually will go to something and then I go and I'll actually find it. But yeah, no, I got to watch some things that haven't watched in a long time, and
Nice.
I thought that was great. So there's good with bad, okay? And just because you're loud on Twitter does not necessarily mean that people are going to listen to you.
Yeah.
People got to get over
be growing pains, and they'll get there. And
yeah, they'll get there. I mean, I'm sorry, but
go ahead.
I'm sorry, but there are just certain things that are an automatic no. And I think that people need to understand that just because it might not offend you doesn't mean it's not offensive to someone else. And so I think that, yeah, this goes for them censoring, things on Peacock to, a lot of these things that are happening right now, in the world. So there's other things out there. And if this is what the hill and the platform you're going to want to die on, then you, my friend, are sad.
Yeah.
That's all.
I was gonna.
And get out of your mom's basement.
Yeah. I think also people don't invest $1 billion hoping to make every single one of their users upset. So I do think they give it a little bit of time. They want it to be just as enjoyable as you do. Klump, was there anything else that we didn't hit that you wanted to make sure you get out?
I think I'm good. I'm pretty good.
Appreciate it. I like having these. I know that we thought we were probably going to wrap up like probably 20, 30 minutes ago. We probably all three of us probably felt like this is the end. And then we got into a whole other thing. I've said it before, and I'll continue to say it on every episode one that we have. Our Thursday shows, our Thursday night chaser for After Wednesdays, I think is our most cerebral show we put on each week. It's the one where we really start talking about social stuff. We start talking about the politics of it all, and we get really into a lot of the weeds, as it were, where I think that even the watch-alongs and the Tuesday reviews are just a lot of poking fun at each other and seeing who can fart first and the loudest. So I really enjoy the Thursday night shows because I don't know, it's to me the time we seem to set aside to really break down the deeper meaning of a lot of this stuff. So I really appreciate that, guys.
I feel like I need to start wearing like a blazer, like it's NPR Friday News Roundup time. No, I love. Hey,
Okay.
I NPR. I listen to every day. It's not me shitting on NPR. I've always wanted to be on NPR, but I'm just saying.
Yeah, we're definitely showing our age. We all listen to NPR, BBC.
Yeah.
Nothing made me happier and angrier than when I found out he was on NPR multiple times and he never told me. I was like, motherfucker.
Oops.
Yeah, he was the public information officer for Port of Entry, and I got told, hey, your dad was in the paper. It was like the little like free paper that comes in a local town. I'm like, so I look up my dad's name online. It's like I see all these NPR stories whenever they're talking about the Port of Entry. I'm like, motherfucker. As I'm going to school for journalism, like you didn't think you'd.
I didn't.
Yeah, like you wouldn't tell your boy.
Your dad's all fake news, son. It's all run by corporations.
No, literally the most liberal person I've ever met in my life. I love him.
Yeah.
Your dad's like Sami Zayn.
Yeah, your dad's totally Sami Zayn.
Yes.
Can we get the yellow, like mustard colored jackets with how they did? Didn't WWE do that? They went retro, and they had those like silly jackets. Or am I just like dreaming this up? And I'm like
Zubaz.
I don't know.
I want.
No, it wasn't Zubaz. No, they had blazers on. Like they had.
Oh no.
Like there was a throwback night on one of the. I don't.
I'm gonna
maybe I'm
Google it.
wrong.
I'm going to Google it. I'm going to check it out. I'm going to see if I can't find it. If I find it, maybe we'll do a watch along. I think that we're ready for last call, guys. You guys ready for last call?
I'm ready for last call.
You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. Thank you guys for coming through, having a drink with us, whatever it was. It's not about what you're drinking, it's about who you're drinking with. We appreciate that you had a drink with us tonight. We are at WOTR The Show. We are WrestlingOnTheRocks.com. You can find all of our contacts, all of our links, everything on there, including our shops. There was a surprise drop code Dynamite to get 20% off of the ProWrestlingTees.com/WrestlingOnTheRocks for the merch. Guys, Klump, where can people find you?
I mean, Crybaby Klump, you can find a person who is pretending to me.
The Klump representative, as
Yes,
always. Amanda, where can people find you?
Exactly.
At Ms. Amanda Jane at Twitter and Instagram.
Hell yeah, and I am at Ref Marsh. We are Wrestling on the Rocks. Thank you guys for having a drink. That's last call. Cheers.
Hey, producer lady here. Thanks for tuning in. Continue to support us or buy us a drink by following and putting the I in subscribe on Twitch. Or subscribe and review our podcast on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to us. Cheers!
I would never have a drink with Wrestling on the Rocks.